Good evening, sim racing fans. 23 down and just one to go tonight under the Alabama sun. We end a battle that started back in October of 2014 at the Daytona International Speedway. Tonight is the season finale on a Season 5 campaign with the Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series, and it's going down in Talladega. A track like no other, standing 4 stories tall and 33 degrees deep. This track takes no prisoners. You either win or, for everybody else, most likely get chewed up and spit out. It is round 24 and Chase Race 5, the JMP Customs 266 from Talladega Superspeedway, and only on LSRTV. Up in the broadcast booth tonight, and glad to be with you and along for the ride as we are every Sunday evening. Alongside myself is Carl Jones. My name is Evan Pasoko, and as always, our executive producer is Laura Lawson. Carl, we were here just 2 weeks ago, and the championship picture changed then. We were in Charlotte just last week, and it changed even more. And tonight, the big question that we all want to find out is who ends up on top of the championship standings after 100 laps and 266 miles. And it could very well take a win if you want that championship.
Absolutely. I have a funny feeling that we're going to see the complexion of this thing change again. You know, I mean, we got drivers right now. One of the drivers that I've been talking to for the past week here, I talked to him quite often here, has been Michael Churchman. You know, he's been a bridesmaid in Cora here. Now, he's been with Cora. I think he's one of the last drivers that's been here for the whole 5 seasons that Cora's been in existence. And he has been a bridesmaid in Cora for the championship. I believe now this will be his, well, it would have been 2 years in a row. And now he's looking for another time trying to get up here and win this championship. But, you know, he's got some strong drivers down there. He's got George Burke, Nathan Sedlak, Damon Gilbert, all to contend with here tonight. And, I mean, this goes back to, it could possibly be, something big happens right down to Nicholas Doucette. He's only 53 points out of this.
You're taking a look live as qualifying is about halfway through, and about half the drivers have done it. It's a 5-minute closed 2-lap qualifier session. But again, we do want to welcome everybody tuning in live to the LSRTV Championship post-race show. High above the asphalt in the broadcast booth is where we sit and wait for this one to officially get underway. Carl, we also want to wish everybody a very happy Mother's Day for everybody tuning in. Let's talk about our results from 1 week ago, though. We went to Charlotte, and things really shuffled up after that event. It was George Bark who took home a 4th checkered flag on the year. He finished atop the pile. Damon Gilbert came home in 2nd, and then a lot of our familiar championship names were up there inside of the top 10 as well.
Yeah, one of the drivers, though, that was Dominic Dyball. He had fallen way back in the pack there, right towards the end of the race, and just didn't have a chance to get rebounded, and he just dropped like a stone in the points. He is now sitting 76 points out of this. He doesn't even have a chance to get up here to contend for this, which is, I know, a big heartbreaker for him, because he was looking forward to coming into these last couple of races and doing really well so he can get up here and contend for this points championship. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we're going to be seeing, and I know tonight we're going to be seeing names like we said before, George Bark and Damon Gilbert, Michael Churchman, Nathan Sedlak. These guys are all going to be up here in the front running for this tonight. And, yeah, it's going to be an exciting race. We have a couple different championships we're going to be talking about tonight between the regular Cora Points Championship and also the Gen 6 Championship, which we have 6 drivers that are in contention for.
So you had George Bark win it all. Gilbert, Churchman, Sedlak, those 4 names that you mentioned finished top 4 last week. They're also the top 4 in the championship entering this event. And, it's really not a coincidence, I think, that that's the way it is. But Ryan Borges appeared to have this championship almost on lock 1 week ago. Running strong, lost connection to the sim, dropped, and it pretty much destroyed his finish, Carl. That has happened to him 2 times so far in our 4 chase races. He enters P5 in the points, negative 37 from the top spot. Technically, he's not the last one in contention. Make that Nick Doucette, who is 6th in the championship. He's 53 off. But you got to look at the rest of the top 5. 4th into tonight is Damon Gilbert, has a 1st backed up with a 2nd last week. He's got to run strong, and he's run very successfully, but it was the mistakes early in this championship hunt in the chase that has him still 32 back. Then it gets really, really close. Nathan Sedlak is 14 points off the top spot. He is 3rd in the championship standing. George Bark is 2nd only 2 points off of Michael Churchman, who is looking to get a Cora Sunday Money Championship tonight, and he will as well be our LSRTV in-race reporter this evening. In total, $586, Carl, up for grabs in the points, combined with a regular weekly purse of over $150, 30 of which will go to the winner who takes home the checkered flag alone. Needless to say, there is a lot on the line this evening.
Absolutely, and it looks like troubles are already starting for Ryan Borges. He just fell through again today. So, I mean, troubles are starting already for Ryan Borges, who we just mentioned last week, fell out, and that's why he dropped down to 5th in points. But I was just watching it, and yeah, he just dropped out, and he just reconnected. So he's all right. He's going to be able to make it into the race. But if this is any indications on what's going to happen here today, he may be in some trouble.
And the field is going to grid up behind the iRacing.com Ford First Mustang pace car. They're going to do one lap around, and then after that, they will find themselves behind Kevin McCarthy in the Cora JMP Custom Cycles pace car as well. So do have a little bit of time before we do drop the green flag on this evening's JMP Customs 266. You talk about that individual vehicle championship. For those that may not tune in every week with Cora, we run different vehicles. We were in the trucks last week at Charlotte. 2 weeks ago, we were at this very facility, but we were in the B cars. So tonight in the Cup cars, there's a mini point series going on for whoever can accumulate the most points in every single kind of vehicle. You mentioned there's a lot of drivers involved in that battle, and there is. That's also a $36 payout. If you could win that one, take home it. That's right now led by Damon Gilbert by 9 points over Nathan Sedlak. Salacardi's 26 back, 27 back is David Wink. Dylan Ackert is 33 back. Those are the top 5 right there as well. Also, so we got the main points. You got the Gen 6 points on the line as well. We got a Rookie of the Year running in progress, Carl.
Yeah, we have Damon Gilbert and Brandon Cruz-Monsivais right now. They're only separated by 59 points here going into this last race of the season. So these are this is just one more thing that these guys are going to be fighting for here tonight. So Brandon Cruz-Monsivais pretty much has to get up here and win this race, at least lead a lot of it and win it in order to be able to get up here in front of Damon Gilbert. Excuse my stammering there a little bit. Just kind of excited tonight. It's going to be an exciting night, a lot of fun, and yeah, we have a lot going on, a lot to talk about. So just make sure you stay tuned. You don't want to miss any of this.
And 100 laps is not an easy task either at Talladega. I mean, this racetrack is built on an Indian burial ground, but let's talk some track facts about the track they call Dega. The Talladega Superspeedway is located in Talladega, Alabama. It has a capacity crowd of 80,000 seats that can be packed in whenever a race rolls around. The speedway is owned and operated by the International Speedway Corporation. Broke ground back in May of 1968 and opened in September of '69, 45 years ago, and was designed by Bill Ward and William France Sr. Was originally known as the Alabama International Motor Speedway. Today it sits with an asphalt surface at 2.666 miles in length. Turns 1 and 2 at 33 degrees. If you want to get really technical, turn 3 is 32.4 and turn 4 is 32.5. You also got 16.5 degrees of banking in the tri-oval. That's more than most intermediate tracks that a lot of these guys will go racing at, like we've seen some racetracks like Kentucky or even some of the smaller ovals like Iowa that we have seen in the past on this Sunday Money Season 5 schedule. But in reality, again, there's been 23 races in the books. Only one remains to determine it all, and there's so many different possibilities. And the way the points work in this Sunday Money Series, Carl, you don't win and you get 47 tops like you would in the Cup Series if you're talking NASCAR Sprint Cup Series competition. George Bark won last week. He got 110 points, so that shows you how, you think it's close enough when we're talking about a 2-point interval to second, a 14-point interval to third. When you're talking about how widespread the points are, depending on finishing position, it really makes it that much tighter.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And that's the cause of George Barks able to jump over last week. Well, actually, a couple of different drivers fell back. We had Ryan Borges; he fell back 4 positions last week. Nicholas Doucette dropped back a position, but everybody above him has gained positions. We have Damon Gilbert; he gained 3 positions. Nathan Sedlak gained a position. George Bark, and so did Michael Churchman. These guys all gained positions last week in the point standing. So we're looking at, like you said here, anything can happen here at Talladega. We were talking about last week people being mathematically erased from the points championship. The only one that I'm seeing right now that would be mathematically impossible for him to do anything would be Dieball in the dieware machine. But Nicholas Doucette, anything can happen here at Talladega. They can pile up the top 5, and Nicholas Doucette come out and win this. He has a chance of walking away with the championship.
And the car's doing a couple of parade laps here before we do officially get this one underway. So we talked about how the $36 purse is on the line for whoever gets the best finish tonight, accumulated with the points that they've earned in these NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Cup cars, the A cars on iRacing. That's $36. We've already handed out a $36 check to the Trucks champion, the B car champion, $18 to the best driver in the Indy cars, and as well in the super late models, which was really only one race earlier on in the season. But the big money sits in this championship. And I know we talk about the chase, how we grouped everybody up 4 races ago, cut them down to 12. Well, 13 positions do get paid out in this championship. The winner, though, how about a $200 check walking away from the Talladega Superspeedway? That never hurt anybody trying to go for the top spot. It's $100 to second, $50 to third, all the way down to 13th position, who walks away with $10. So even the highest finishing driver not in the chase, there's a little bit of incentive to race for something, but there is so many different spots that you make the chase, you're walking away with some money. So although we're going to be focusing on who's going to win the championship, I would not be, obviously you want to get $200 car, you want to win the championship, but I mean, second place, $100, third place, 50, got 40 for fourth and 30 for fifth. That's not a bad payout either.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, it's all great and everything to finish in the top 12, but you got to look what we're doing here. They're getting paid to go out here and essentially, I hate to say it like this because it sounds kind of crass, but you're playing a video game, and I wouldn't mind being in Joel Wood's position. Hey, I just won $10 for sitting here doing something I absolutely love doing.
Well, the way to qualify in again for this Sunday Monday series, you qualify in through one of the three qualifier races held throughout the weeks, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. If you finish in the top 12, you make the show on Sunday prior to joining the qualified race. Each driver, you send a $6 deposit. That can be used all week long until you qualify. If you don't, you can get your deposit back or leave it in Cora for your next attempt. So if you don't qualify, that $6 stays there until you qualify for an event. If a driver does qualify, a portion of that goes towards the weekly race purse that we talked about, $150+ every single week to the finishing order, and then as well to the championship fund, which we just went over some of those numbers. So 100% of all entry fees do get paid back to the drivers. You take a look, it's going to be 20 cars that are going to race it out here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Carl, Talladega is not easy in the Cup cars, especially with this new draft model. Are we going to see, I know you've been talking to drivers, we've been talking to drivers, a lot of them have a different idea. Some of them, they want to hang back and they want to stay out of it. A lot of the other drivers say it's going for broke and you got to be up there and you got to try to lead every single lap. I feel like we're going to see a couple of different strategies, but once we get down to those final 20 laps, there's no way of predicting what we're going to see.
Well, like I said, I have been talking to one driver in particular, the 88 of Michael Churchman here quite extensively this week. He, like I said, he's been bridesmaid here a couple different times in Cora, and he is looking to win this championship, and he has really, really been, on a tear out here. He's been very fast here all week long, and once again tonight, I mean, he is starting third on the grid. So I mean, we're looking at somebody has been saying all along this week, I want to get up here, I want to lead as many laps as I can I want to win this race, and I want to win this championship. He says I've been second too many times.
Well, we've caught up with him on the radio with our LSRTV in-race reporter, Michael Churchman. It's Evan Pasoko and Carl Jones in the LSRTV broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4.
Well, you're coming into this, and we've been documenting the journey that number 88 machine has made throughout 23 races so far this evening. You got one to go, however, I'm sure you would like a little bit more cushioning. 2 points is less than one position on the racetrack. Good news is you're starting inside of the top 3 in that Soar Motorsports Chevrolet. What is the game plan to attack this?
Just try to go out and lead as many laps as I can and protect myself, try to get any damage, and hopefully I'll come out on top.
What would it mean for you and the guys after all the work that you've put in, not only this season, but throughout past seasons as well, to finally get a championship?
Oh, it would mean a lot. I've been trying so hard to try to capitalize on a championship, and I'm finally at the top of the charts now, and I'm gonna try and go get that championship for sure.
We know you guys are about to roll for the pace laps here, so we want to let you get back down to your team radio. Before we get rolling, any shout-outs you want to throw out there while we got you on the mic?
Just thanks to my teammates and everybody over at Cora and you guys at LSRTV for doing all this, and we're gonna go try to get them. So we'll hopefully see you in the broadcast booth at the end.
That sounds like a plan. You're going to be our in-race reporter. We'll hopefully be checking in with you throughout the race on some good terms. We wish you the best of luck, Michael. Good luck in this race.
All right, thank you much.
So that is, again, our LSRTV in-race reporter piloting the number 88 Store Motorsports Chevrolet SS this evening, Michael Churchman. He is the Cora Sunday Monday Series Championship leader by just 2 points. And again, we talk about points. George Bark won last week. Carl, he got 110. Damon Gilbert got second. He got 106. So 2 points is literally less than one position on the racetrack. That's how close this could become.
Yeah, it's going to be a barn burner for sure. I mean, these guys have been putting on one hell of a show all season long, and I don't expect anything less from them tonight. And like I said, Michael Churchman, I want to correct what I said earlier. He's going to be starting on the outside pole. I said he was going to be starting third. No, he is starting on the outside pole. He's starting second, so he's already in this position where he wants to be. I'm sure he would have rather been on the pole, but Nicholas Doucette took that privilege away from him. So, yeah, I'm sure Michael's going to do it. You're going to see him doing everything he can to get up here and finally win this championship.
Good news is he has a teammate not that far away. Let's give you the LSRTV starting grid for the JMP Customs 266. It is a pole position to the number 51 machine. In qualifying, Nick Doucette will start atop the board. Michael Churchman rolls from second. Nathan Sedlak in third. Fourth position is Dylan Ackert. And Salacardi is fifth.
In the sixth position. Okay, here, I'm sorry about that. In the sixth position, we're going to be looking at Daniel Miller. Dominic Dieball's in seventh. The eighth position is going to be taken by the 01 of John Pansula. Wes Campbell is in eighth. Ninth position is going to be Brandon Cruz Monsivice. And in 10th, we are looking at, Weston Campbell. He is in ninth, and Monsivice is in 10th. I'm sorry about that.
5 more cars that put down a time in qualifying. Ronald Hacker in 11th. 12th is Joel Wood. Dan S. Bailey 13th. 14th is Charles Starks. And James Brown, the final car to put down a time in qualifying. 5 more to round out our field. Borges 16th. 17th, Gilbert. Bark in 18th. It's a 19th, the J.R. Johnson. Looks like 19 total cars will roll from the grid here in Talladega, Alabama. The pace car will hold them at bay for just one more time around. Again, up in front of the field, and it is the number 20, technically, it is the JMP Custom Cycles official Cora pace car piloting that Holden Commodore. It is Kevin McCarthy behind the wheel of that machine. The lights do go out. We get set to go green flag racing again for what is going to be 100 laps. We're so glad to have you with us on LSRTV. For those that have tuned in throughout the entire season, for those that may just be tuning in tonight, you will not be disappointed, because if it was anything like we saw 2 weeks ago right here at the same facility in the beat cars, we're in for a treat. These Cup cars are so difficult to drive. They are extremely hard to push and be successful with. The big balance in this is all going to be that it's going to be 100 laps before we make it to the end. There is a lot that can happen in a 266-mile time frame, and that is exactly what these guys are going to have to go through to get a championship. Pit stops, crashes, trying to get back out there, trying to limit mistakes. But again, at the end of the day, we're only going to find one Cora champion, and the likes of Churchman, Bark, Sedlak, Gilbert, Borges, and Doucette are the 6 gentlemen that are going to have an opportunity to fight for it.
And as they coming down the backstretch, now they're getting ready to go into turn number 3 here, coming out of the, on the last pace lap, getting ready to go green. And like we said, we had the Phenom sit down here. Nicholas Doucette with a great run today for the pole. He got a 49.290. So that's a really fast lap by Nicholas Doucette. He was followed very
at least half a tenth off of the pace with him. It is Kevin McCarthy. He'll dive to Holden. Commodore Cora pace car to the pit lane. Let's go Sunday Money Racing. Nick Doucette going to lead the field of 19 cars through the Trialville, coming towards the green flag. Green flag flies out of the Trialville, and the JMP Customs 266, the Cora Season 5 finale, officially now green, and we race down to quarters number 1 and 2 for the first time tonight. And already bad news for everybody else is Churchman down in line in front of Sedlak. The Storm Motorsports cars are already hooked up.
Yeah, Churchman said he's going to be looking for one of his teammates there. They've been practicing all week long with this draft, and they said if they can get 3 cars, they'd love to get all 3 of their cars up here running in the front and maybe push one of these guys into a championship. And I know right now that, like I said, Michael Churchman, he's just itching. He wants to get up here and get around Doucette as quickly as possible. He wants to get his bonus points for leading, and he wants to get up here and try to lead the most laps so he can have a chance at this points championship, because everything he does is just going to buffer his lead that he has right now.
So the top few got single file on the start. Now they want to get a little bit racy once again. We'll go side by side all the way through. Really, this lead pack that goes all the way back, if you want to mark it up, as what is going to be the top handful of cars, at least right now, on the racetrack. We do have the number 37 of J.R. Johnson. He has somehow ended up 1 lap ahead of everybody else. So if you take a look, Nick Doucette should be our leader in the number 51 to 37. Has some sort of an issue with their transponder. He may be showing up as P1 on the ticker right now. He would indeed be in 19th position, just to make note of that. But how about Sedlak and Churchman? They got hooked up, and they left each other. Churchman went up high. He tried to work with the machine up there, and he'll get left out to dry. And now up front, it is just the 51 and the 35 really pull it away by a little bit. However, if we know anything about the draft from these super speedway races we've seen so far, that's not going to last long.
Well, watching these guys here 2 weeks ago in the B cars, it seemed like that inside line was the place to be. You got down on that inside line, you just kept it down there, and you were able to hold that lead. That's what Dominic Diebold did for the first half of that race. He led just about the entire thing there until right towards the end, when he had a bad pit stop and ended up falling back into the field. But it looked like the inside line was the place to be on the racetrack there, and it looks like it's where it's at again today. Here comes the 39 now of Sedlak. He's coming up on the outside. He's going to try and see if he can get up here for the lead.
Oh, contact at 39, sideways and hanging on. Sedlak's in front of the field. There you go, big contact. He's in the outside wall. Caution flag will fly down to quarter number 1. A big incident. Borges sneaks through. Daniel E. Miller destroyed. Joel Wood torn up as well. The number 79 Chevy involved in this one. And just like that, you said they're going to get a little bit racy. And then with the snap of a finger, contacted. It starts with the 39 and the 88 machines. They find each other in the Trialville. Looks like Churchman went up and McCarty came down. They just found each other. And that contact at 205 miles an hour does not typically end well. A 5-car wreck brings out our first yellow. The replay going up now.
That was a close call there from Michael Churchman. Like you said, he got up there and just got into the outside or the inside quarter panel, and it just turned him almost straight into the inside wall. He was able to contain that car, got it down on the apron, straighten it up, but that could have been catastrophe right there for Churchman. He does have a little bit of damage, and that does come into play. He's going to have to remember to click that off if you don't think it's going to do too much damage to him on the racetrack, because you only have 2 resets here. And the way they're going right now, we're only, 9 laps into this race. We already have our first caution. So Churchman might want to consider shutting that off so he doesn't have to burn up one of his resets. He's our points champion, and he just got booted back to the 10th position. But, that's good news here for, Nicholas Doucette, because what we said he has to do, he's doing. He's sitting up here in the lead, watching his points contenders wreck. So, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here for the rest of this race. I mean, like I said, we're only 9 laps into this, and we're under our first caution already.
Yeah, Doucette is pulling the, I guess he's rather been forced into trying to play the cards of the Damon Gilbert strategy, and that is the only thing you can literally do is win. Gilbert's nearly done that back-to-back weeks, and he hasn't gained much more than 15 points. Doucette needs to gain 53, so he needs Churchman to get 19th, Park to get 18th, 17th to Sedlak, Gilbert to get 16th, and Borges to get 15th if he wants even a mathematical shot at it. It's possible, but that's one wicked long shot. And then again, you have to feel for Borges, who is 37 back. A little bit more in a realm of possibility, but still it would take quite an off night for a couple of these guys. Just having those incidents, and you said it in that pre-race show, he dropped that at this race, was able to connect back. Thankfully, he was still able to get back on the track. That is why he did not have a qualifying time, because he dropped connection from the sim during the 5-minute closed 2-lap single car qualifier. So already the trouble for our championship leaders. We have to work on a little bit of the scoring here as we work on getting that number 37 Chevy of J.R. Johnson put back into the correct line, because the sim is still scoring him as 1 lap ahead. So as we go through and work on the transponders, we'll step away for a brief commercial break. Come back to the Talladega Superspeedway for more action. The JMP Customs 266 and the Cora Sunday Money Season 5 Championship on LSRTV.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember, out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Back live, the lights still on atop the iRacing.com Ford First Mustang pace car at the Talladega Superspeedway. You're watching Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series action. The Season 5 Championship continues on LSRTV, and well, and ends tonight because it's round 24 of 24 of the championship race with the JMP Customs 266. The scoring issue has been resolved. J.R. Johnson's transponder now showing him in 15th position, so everything back on track. Do want to make a note, Michael Churchman, 1 down, 1 to go. Carl, he did use a quick fix to get that Storm Motorsports Chevrolet fixed back up. He is going to be back with Nathan Sedlak. They'll be 12th and 13th, but that means you only got 1 mulligan left.
Yeah, apparently he figured that car was not going to be able to handle like it was, before that incident. So he figured he better get in there and get that fixed because he is, like we said, he's in contention he is points leader wanting this championship. So that's the only thing I can figure is he just wanted to make sure he has a clean car. He said that earlier on when we were interviewing him there. He said he wants to make sure he keeps the nose of that car clean. So yeah, he did burn up one of his repairs. He only has 1 more left, so he's gonna have to really keep an eye open and see and make sure he tries to stay out of this any kind of melee that's going to be happening here, starting especially back here in the 10th position now is Michael Churchman. So back up here to the front, though, we do have Nicholas Doucette, and Dominic Dyball has made his way up to 2nd position. Weston Campbell's on the back bumper there of Doucette, and Bailey is on the back bumper right now of Dyball for this restart.
We should note it appears Wes Campbell in that Rockstar Energy Drink Chevrolet does have some front end damage, so if you see him struggling in the draft, that could be a factor on it. It looks like the right front is a little bit bent up on that Rockstar machine, but we'll see how it works out. Do want to give a call out to what is the only Toyota right now inside of the top 10. It is, how about Dan Bailey, in honor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series SpongeBob SquarePants 400. He's in the number 55, as it was in the Cup Series. He's driving the number 08, but it is the Aaron's Dream Machine with the SpongeBob on the hood and the yellow sponge on the back of that Toyota. So wanted to give a quick call to that machine. He'll be restarting in 4th. So the lights are off on top of the pace car. We're going to get back going for this one when the green flag drops once again. Going to show lap number 14 of 103. Green flag now flies as we go through the trial. Technically, right on the marker of what is 90 laps to go. The 51 now hits the loud pedal. We're racing down to quarter number 1. Side by side behind them, though. Not the best start on the outside for the number 15 of Dominic Dyball. Different colors this week. It's got Ohio State on that Chevrolet. We'll go side by side with the 05 Rockstar Drinks we were talking about. Wes Campbell, a battle for 2nd, and a battle for 3rd on back. The 05 will win P2.
Yeah, taking a look at that damage there on the right-hand side of Campbell. As long as he's able to get here and get tucked up underneath this 51, he may be in good shape. But as soon as he has to get out there and get into clean air by himself, that could be just like putting up a sail there, or actually putting on the brakes, and it's just going to slow him down. These cars are aerodynamically correct. They got to be perfect out here in order to get the speed that they need to get, for the airflow. And with that damage on the front, that is going to slow him down. As you see, he is not able to stay on the back bumper of the 51 machine of Doucette.
Single filing things out up at the front of the field, something we did not see in that opening stint of about 6-7 laps or so. The secondary pack is going to be led by the 7th out of Joel Wood, so the top 6 pull it away. They're within 0.5 of a second of each other. 7th on back is everybody else on the lead lap, which is 7th through 15th position. On the outside of that group, you have the 61 of Ronald Hacker with the 00 of James Brown. Those machines working up high. Down low in that group, you got the 79, as we've said, the 99 in that mix also. Not all that far behind, that's Charles Starks, John Pansula. James Brown now goes down to the bottom in front of J.R. Johnson, Nathan Sedlak. You've got Gilbert, Bark, and Borges and company. So for the most part, all these guys in the championship hanging back, at least right now. Maybe not intentionally, they're at the back of the pack. It's Nick Doucette, though, who is trying that charge up front. He's got a challenge, though. 2 cars on the outside lane. Dyball P1, Brandon Cruz Monsivice in the running for the Rookie of the Year honors in the 54 Small Town Computer Chevrolet. P2 at the stripe. Could not get clear, though, into the corner. They'll slide back, and it's going to be 2 sets of 2 wide inside the top 4.
Speaking of our championship contenders here, I just take a look back here into the field now to see where Churchman has ended up. He has dropped all the way back to the 14th position from 10th on the restart here. He wasn't able to find anybody to help him out. He just sat out there on the outside line, nobody behind him, nobody in front of him, and just got freight trained there. He lost 4 positions, and he just now got back down in front. Ryan Borges now trying to regain his composure after that just about totally disastrous wreck he could have been in. If you look back here, we got a couple cars that are lapped down that were involved in that wreck. These guys had to tow. He was lucky. He got down there on that inside, just slid the car a little bit. A little tiny bit of damage, not a lot, but did not have to tow. That was his saving grace because he didn't have to laps down, and he was able to stay up on the lead lap here. But he has dropped back 14th, now up to 13th position.
So that lead draft grows from 6 to now 8 race cars, and you got a couple of guys trying to join the fray as well, making it from 3 Sensitu to 4. Still the only guys working the outside is Dieball and the number 54 behind him, Brandon Cruz Monsiváis in the pushing spot. Got separated. They're going to try to get hooked back up and then can go back at it. No restrictions on the bump drafted in these NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars as it is in real life, but again, very difficult to do. Nothing like the trucks, who, again, now even with the new body styles, make it a little bit more difficult, but still easier than these. And then as well, you've got the B cars, a little bit easier to push because the bumpers line up a little bit better. These things, not really, even Chevy on Chevy, not easy to do. So you'll see Monsiváis get to the back bumper to Dieball, but again, they just lost so much time. The 54, again, also needing to cool down that engine. Can't push all the way around. They kind of back it off, get some air to the grill of that machine, cool down those engine temps, and now, again, you got to back off, push for maybe a lap and a half, maybe, tops, and then really you can't do a lot with it. It is so very hard to control your temperatures with this new draft build that's the struggle that we're going to see a lot of these guys have, and they'll settle in line for the moment with the top 6 it is now, because that other group has kind of slid back a little bit, but slowly but surely. Contact on the 29. Dylan Acker. He's turned into the outside wall. He comes down. He'll collect Joel Wood. And no caution.
Well, just keeping an eye on that there. I was watching
as
that was happening there. One driver that just missed that was the 88 there of Michael Churchman. As he saw the spinning car coming down in front of him, he made some good evasive action. I just happened to be on the 88 car when that happened, and watched him with his little move down there to the inside. Was able to stay out of that, but Dylan Eckhart and Joel Wood, though. Joel Wood looks like he took a good bit of that damage there to the front end of that car, is totally destroyed. This is his second incident now, so he's going to have to go in and burn up his last reset here, because he was in the first incident. Now he's also in this one with a lot of damage. So Joel Wood is going to have to watch what he does for the rest of this race.
And Dieball just with a little bit of an over-aggressive push off the corner, got the 29 sideways, and then again, Acker, it was the 29 who ended up in the fence and almost saved it, came back down, and then again, Joel Wood got into him, and then all those big names that you were talking about just sneaking on by, including Michael Churchman, but Joel Wood, the 79, once again, in back-to-back incidents with maybe almost the brunt of that damage, the 79. The machine is smoking as he goes through the corner. He will obviously be forced down to the pit lane to try to get some repairs done to that vehicle. Do you pit now as the leader? Almost a fifth of the way through this race. Doucette tops the board. Is he going to head down to the pit lane? He's looking like it, and he'll bring everybody else down, almost everybody else down. And we got 1 or 2 cars staying out, but other than that, everybody else coming down the pit lane for the most part. They're led by the 51.
Yeah, it looks like we have about a split decision on what's going to happen out here. It looks like half the cars came down pit road, half the cars stayed out. So I'm riding down here right now with Nicholas Doucette as he's pulling into his pit stop. Perfect entry into his pit stop. Now looks like he is going to go ahead and take no tires. He's going to take, I don't know what happened there, because he was up for very, very little bit of time on the right-hand side. Just dropped it right back down, but he did take inside tires and fuel. So not sure exactly what happened with that, but he did lose quite a few positions in that pit stop.
The way it happens, unless you go into your iRacing files, is it's automatically going to get you set to put 4 tires and fill it up all the way. The drivers can open up a dashboard per se, or a black box inside the cockpit of these cars and change that, set it to no tires. Typically, a lot of the time, Carl, it takes about 2 tires to top off on fuel if we're not getting a full tank. So they'll go with right sides only. Started to do that, and the way they dropped it on the jack, I've done it as well. He forgot to turn those tires off, but I don't think he was intending to do so. Maybe he was messing with how much fuel he wanted to put in and did not have enough time to tell the sim to not give him tires, and that's kind of what that delay was. And you're right, it cost him a lot of positions. will slide him back very prominently in the running order, so he'll have to try to recover from that, but a tough break nonetheless. Cars that stayed out is everybody in front of Michael Churchman. So Churchman goes up to third. J.R. Johnson is going to be second. James Brown will be your leader. The problem for these guys, Sedlak, Carl Starks, and Daniel Miller, is James Brown stayed out. If the 00 didn't stay out, those guys would get a wave round. No problem. They don't get back to the lead lap because the 00 stays out, and it's the 00 Lafarge Chevrolet lead lap car in front of those lappers. They're not all going to get away by, only the lucky dog will, which would be Charles Starks, as our scoring shows right now, 17th position in the number 99 machine. So interesting attempt, we'll say, at a strategy play there. But we do have, again, those 3 drivers that are off of the lead lap right now out of the 19 that started this. Daniel Miller's down 2. He knows he won't get that lucky dog. He comes down to the pit lane. Sedlak's 2 laps down in 18th, and then again Charles Starks 1 lap down in 17th position. Dylan Ackert is the last machine on the lead lap. That machine is in the pit lane right now getting some service, but again, almost a 50-50 split. 3 lead lappers will stay out, and a couple of dramas down there on the pit lane, and one of them was Doucette, because a big difference at Talladega, Carl. P1 back to where he sits right now in 8th.
Well, yeah, big difference, you know, and it's going to be a big difference on how his car handles also, because now he's going to be sitting back here for the first time tonight in dirty air. He's not going to have that clean air on the front of his grill, and you know, we've seen it here a couple different times with Nicholas. You know, he's really good up front. He was able to pull away here a couple weeks ago with the lead, but as soon as he got back into traffic, he lost the handle of his race car, and you got to wonder, is that going to happen to him here again tonight? Because now he's sitting back here in the 8th position. He's going to have a lot of dirty air. Like I said, he's not going to have no clean air on the front of his car at all. That's going to change the feel of his car. He's not going to be able to run the car probably exactly where he wants to. He's going to have to be to the inside and the outside for doing passing. Not going to be able to just sit on that yellow line like he did here when he was leading. So this could be a huge upset for Nicholas not being able to get up here, because we saw it, like I said, a couple weeks ago. He wasn't able to get back up to the front of the pack after he dropped back into the field.
The lights are going to go off on top of the pace car this time by, and this is going to be the one to go, so it'll set us up for restart again on the ticker. It is going to be showing lap 34 of 103, and we do go back green flag racing. Again, those first 3 laps were pace laps, so it is going to be, again, much like the first one that came at 90 laps to go. This one could actually be coming right at 80 laps to go in the JMP Customs 266. Brown will lead. We'll take a look to confirm the wave round. We believe Charles Starks may get it in the Ohio State Chevy, but right now at least has not been given that wave by yet, although he is the first car 1 lap down. Sedlak stayed out hoping to take those honors. That won't happen, so he comes down to the pit lane as well, and it looks like we'll stack him up with 16 cars on the lead lap. For this next restart. The 99 may very well have not been given the wave round or the lucky dog, because he may have been involved in the incident, may have gotten an incident point from it, which would have prevented him from getting that wave by. So 16 of them on the lead lap. That's going to set us up with good about a rows for this upcoming restart. We'll have them 8 deep.
We'll take a look who's back up here to the front of this pack now. The 88 of Michael Churchman is back up to the 3rd position after pretty much having a disastrous beginning of this race. He's going to hopefully maybe here towards the middle of the race have a little bit better race, get up here towards the front. He's only got a couple cars in front of him here that he has to pass to get up here so he can get some lead lap points. He does need to get these points taken care of and get them in his back pocket here, so at the end of this race, you know, he knows that he's got some buffers, and leading the most laps, you know, that's important. You need to do that here, especially when the points are this close. So James Brown, he's going to be leading this off. J.R. Johnson, not Junior Johnson, he's not here tonight, but J.R. Johnson, he's going to be sitting out here on the outside of him. Michael Churchman is in 3rd. Dan S. Bailey sitting in 4th. Brandon Cruz Montsevice sitting in the 5th position. Dominic Dieball's in 6th. Weston Campbell 7th. Nicholas Doucette 8th. 9th is Joel Wood, and rounding out the top 10 is going to be Ronald Hacker.
So the pace car dives down. It is J.R. Johnson who, and the caution flag gets set to go off here. We get set to go back at it. Maybe a delay in our restart here because it came after the pace car had dived down. So we do take the green flag, and the pace car does come to a stop. So we go green flag racing out of the quarter and rather down to quarter number 1. J.R. Johnson, you were just talking about, back up to the front of the field. We say back up because, again, really he was 19th all race, but got scored in the lead lap, so technically he's already got bonus points for leading tonight. Could he get up there with everybody else for the first time? He'll be third in line, and between him is Churchman and Brown. Churchman goes up high. 37's not going to work with him. That could be bad news for the 88 if he slides back very quickly.
Churchman's going to get down there as close as he can. He can see if he can get a side draft off that 00, but the saving grace might be the 54 of Brandon Cruz Monsiváis. Brandon's going to take a look to his outside. He was going to make it 3 wide there for a moment. He wasn't going to help out Churchman whatsoever. He was just going to go ahead and go around him, but did not happen. Churchman was able to dive back down the line, stay in the 3rd position, right in behind J.R. Johnson.
Yeah, instead of working with that 88, they tried to go high, and that was all Churchman really did. Look at this, 3 wide, 2 rows deep, in 1 and 2, only quarter distance in. The bottom is the 05 and the 79, the 54 and the 15 in the middle, and the 08 and the 51 up high, and they still stick on each other's door all the way around quarters 1 and 2, and now down the back straightaway. Spectacular racing early on, and those guys up high and up, really up high. They're making up ground on the guys down low. A small bobble for the 05. Campbell hangs on to it, slides up the hill, and somehow saves that one after he cheated it with the left side tires on the apron, got loose, recovers. But look at these guys, they're still not slowing down up high.
Yeah, you got both outside lines here. They are just trucking forward here as you got Brandon Cruz Monsiváis now pulled right up beside the first place runner of James Brown. Looks like it's just going to be an excellent race here, coming off of turn 4 down this front stretch for the lead.
And then they go down the back straightaway here. Look at the outside, the very outside with the advantage. Can they get clear? They do of the middle, not quite the bottom though. The 00 keeps the nose there. How hot is that 51 and Nick Doucette right now? He has been glued to the back bumper of the number 08 Aaron's Dream Machine Toyota for the longest of times, and they get the job done somehow, some way. A power move at Talladega, a track where it is so difficult to make the outside work, let alone painting the outside retaining wall. Dan S. Bailey is going to get pushed to the top spot by Nicholas Doucette. They will go to P1 and P2. And this is something that the drivers practiced in a 1-hour practice session prior to the qualifying in this event. It was the wood wrench cars that were really trying to get the outside to work, and it's not surprising that they're the ones that are continuing to put the pressure up high.
Well, if you remember here 2 weeks ago in the V cars, they're the 2 drivers. It was Brandon Cruz Monsiváis and Dominic Dyball. They worked together there for a good part of that race on that outside, working, just picking off one driver at a time until they finally made it up there for the lead and were able to dive it back down. But it doesn't look like it's going to work out as well for them this week here, as they're falling back through the field now a little bit here. They've been freight trained a bit, and they dropped back about 5 or 6 positions here in the last lap.
So we go from 3 wide to single file inside of the top 5. A little bit of side-by-side. Sees the 54 of Brandon Cruz Monsiváis up high. Again, we talked about temps. Clearly, Dominic Dyball is very, very hot in that number 15 Chevrolet. Sliding way back. Just can't keep applying the pressure. And they might be better off just jumping in line and working with Churchman than fighting for him, because with this draft model, very easy to be the last car in a group to fall off of that draft. You see the 54 and the 15 get the run off for the quarter. But that 88, unless the 54 and the 15 get in front of him, he may not be able to hang on to the draft off the back of the number 37 right now. That's the bright orange machine of J.R. Johnson. It can be bad news for Michael Churchman, but again, stragglers at the back of the pack. Amplified when you have this new draft model. Very hard to suck up to the back. Almost when you're drafted, and we saw those 2 guys on the outside, in the middle, and then again way up top working. You almost have to drag the brake as the front car to allow the guy behind you to get to back. So, the old saying of slower wins the race. Well, I mean, you got to hit the brakes if you want to be faster. It's quite interesting. Puts a lot more in the driver's hands as far as strategy-wise. But things have significantly calmed down inside the top 5 from what they were a little bit ago. Nothing like that from, looks like 8th on back. We're 2 wide, about 4 or 5 rows deep. A handful of cars scored right now 8th position all the way through 15th in one big pack. And they're trying to make it one giant pack up front, slowly catching the leaders.
One driver right now who is looking for any help that he can get is Michael Churchman. He is out there in the 6th position right now, all by himself. Nobody seems to want to work with him, and the closest teammate that he has right now is about a half second back of Nathan Sedlak, and he just doing everything he can just to stay up here with his pack by himself. Nobody has helped him at all in this draft. So Michael Churchman having nobody to work with, this could be a big thing here at the end of this race, unless he's able to hook up with maybe Nathan Sedlak or maybe even Ryan Borges. But Ryan Borges is sitting way back here in the field. He's in the 16th position.
A little bit of 3 wide back there momentarily. They get it all sorted out, and now with the exclusion of the top 3, and then throw J.R. Johnson into the mix, because once Churchman was no longer the last car in line, the 37 starts to fall back. Now that the 37 is no longer the last car in line, the 00 is, James Brown starts to drop back. Again, it is very difficult to be able to hang on. We're back to the 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Look at this. Again, they're going for it, and still Montsevice and Dieball in the middle. This time, Daniel Lee Miller to the high side, challenging with the number 35 of Nathan Sedlak. Looks like the 09 may have caught the fence a little bit in the 3, stalled out that lane's momentum, and it looks like it's going to go back to 2 wide racing out at the Tribal, but still 4 cars, and once these 2 drop in line, still 6 of them up high. That's a pretty good number if you want to get some momentum on the high side.
It looks like Dan S. Bailey and Nicholas Doucette are about to walk away with this now, as James Brown has lost the draft off these front 2 guys here. He has fallen back now into the clutches of J.R. Johnson and Michael Churchman, and there's nothing he can do about it. It looks like Doucette's taking a look out here, trying to maybe get some air, get a breather on that engine, cool it down a little bit. As I said, talking here, Dan S. Bailey just blipped off the track there for a moment, but he's right back on there, kind of gave Nicholas Doucette a start, had to maybe back off a little bit. Not sure where Bailey was when he was going to come back on the racetrack. That's got to be a hairy thing, especially when you're up here leading at Talladega. You're going into these turns at 200 miles an hour. To have the guy that's in front of you just disappear even for a split second like that, look what it did. It brought these guys here. You got the 54 of Brandon Cruz Montsevice and Dominic Dieball pushing strong to the outside.
3 wide inside the top 5. You got the top 13 cars within 0.8 of a second of each other, past quarter distance. In this race, the JMP Customs 266. Still Dan Bailey, though, in front of the field, but it's magnificent to watch this pack of 2 and 3 wide action continue to go around the racetrack so effortlessly. Let's step off the mic for a moment. We'll go LSRTV, crank it up here at Talladega. And through all of that, they only continued to get grouped more and more up. Back down now to quarter 3, down the Alabama gang, back straight away. 3 wide, and it's 3 sets of 2-car tandems trying to make it work. To the outside goes the 44 of George Bark. Had some help from a fellow teammate machine in David Gilbert. Gilbert goes down to the inside into number 68. Bark runs out of that momentum, ducks back in line for second. This is one of our open setup races. We talk about how we'll go 1 week fixed, 1 week open, they alternate. Well, 1 week ago, it was fixed Charlotte trucks. That one was a barn burner, but the door is wide open tonight for some of these teams, the bigger teams. If you look at a guy like, Storm Motorsports entries, or even the Wood Wrench team for having a lot of cars in their stable, to be on the same setup, to be able to work together very well, and to be able to be very, very strong in this event. having the door so wide open. Even spectacular racing so far, and Dan Bailey's loving the rear view mirror look as it's slightly entertaining to him. They haven't quite gotten up to him to challenge yet. They're just putting on the show for 5th on back, and now the lead pack includes almost all lead lap cars, 15 of them in it. Only driver not Ryan Borges in the number 32 machine. The Racer Boost Chevrolet SS is back in 16th and 20 seconds off pace.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Borges just lost track of the draft there. He fell back. Now he is 19 seconds back from this lead pack. Right now he's not in danger of going a lap down, but that will change here quickly. You know, this lead pack here, they're running in the draft at 200 miles an hour. Just watching the speeds here now of Ryan Borges as he goes into the turn and coming down the stretch here. He's only doing 193 miles an hour. So he's all by himself out there going much, much slower than everybody else. He is going to do nothing but fall back. And I'd say probably within maybe 2 to 3 laps here, they're going to be on his back bumper, ready to put him a lap down. So Ryan Borges in trouble one more time tonight.
And you said it there, the longer we go, the more chance that he has of falling off the lead lap. That would be very bad news, because right now the lucky dog is the Ohio State Chevrolet of Charles Starks. He's 17th, first car, really only car, 1 lap down. He is in and he's mixed in with this lead draft. He's behind the 01 machine of John Pansula. He's in front of the 39 machine. So what that means is if Borges were to lose his lead lap status, he'd be significantly off pace with his. Talking about Dan Bailey doing 206 Borges. Well, not quite, 192. That is a huge difference. Borges is not going to be able to dive in and stick with that lead draft right away. That would put him, if he, again, were to lose a lap, and this will take a little bit more green flag racing, but right now, everybody calm down for the moment. Looks like we could be on pace to that. That would put him in a position that he would not be the lucky dog, and you know, when it rains, it pours. Bad luck, needing a really, really good performance tonight, and so far not getting it. But a lot of drivers have struggled so far. The top 4 minding their P's and Q's. Everybody else still not satisfied. 44, 68, 5th and 6th position. Although there's nobody down low, they go up to the high side. They expect to make a move up high on these leaders.
Well, you've seen it before here with the the very outside line here. Dennis Bailey and Nicholas Doucette, they were able to get up there and make, like you said, that power move up there and just power into the lead. Nobody has been able to do that since. That outside line, it worked its way up maybe 2 or 3 positions. Then the push cars, they just start to heat up. There's nothing they can do. They have to back off the back bumper of the car that they're pushing so they can get some air in that grill, cool that engine down. So they're not able to do what I don't know exactly what was going on there. I'm just gonna have to assume that the gauges in Nicholas Doucette's car had to have been blinking. That car had to have been screaming. He had to have water shooting up on that windshield when he did that push, because he did not get off the back bumper there of Dan Bailey for an entire lap as they ran around that outside groove up there and made that pass. You're not seeing any of these other guys able to do that. Like I said, they're pushing, then the car starts to overheat. They're not willing to take the chance of blowing that engine.
And again, the reason is there's still a long way to go. Now when we get down to the end of it, we might see a couple of people blow it up coming to the checkered flag, because it's all or nothing at that point. But again, right now, with still over 60 laps to go in this race, it might not be worth it.
2 cars wrecked in the back of the pack here. Not seeing exactly who it was, but I just saw 2 cars slide off the track down in the infield, hit the inside wall very hard.
The 79, again, the 3rd time tonight. He is involved. Looks like contact coming out of the tri-oval, approaching the start-finish line. They were crossing over from lap 40 to take 41. He turned that 05 of Weston Campbell. Both of them hitting the inside wall. They were off of the racing surface. No caution.
Which is bad news there. Oh, Ed, well, there's good news now. Just as I was going to say, that was bad news for Ryan Borges, who was 34 seconds back. Just about ready to go a lap down. This is his saving grace right here, this caution. He is going to be able to come all the way around the track and get back on the back end of the rest of this field.
We slowed them down after that Joel Wood, Weston Campbell incident. Joel Wood may be done now, Carl, because I believe he's already been caught up in 2 incidents, and this would be the 3rd. He'd be out of quick fixes, and that machine is quite torn up. You'll see the replay of what eventually brought out the caution. Did not trigger an automatic yellow from the sim. Race control was forced to throw it once those damaged machines ended up back on the racetrack with the leaders approaching, so we again do slow them down, and that is fantastic news for Ryan Borges. How about Damon Gilbert, the number 68 machine? comes down to the pit lane after getting that damage from hitting the inside wall. Had a damaged engine, leaves with a quick fix. He'll be coupled that with a black flag because it came down before the pit lane was technically opened. Kind of had to do it anyways to get the damage repaired, but that'll force him to at least start guaranteed at the back of the pack for this next restart. And now we go for more caution flag pit stops possibly. We just took another 5th out of the race. Let's see what Dan Bailey does.
I'm taking a look here. I'm very, very curious to see what's going to happen with the 79 machine, because like you said, I do believe that this is his repairs are done. He's going to have to take the machine in, and he's going to have a lot of repairs to do on this. And it looks like everybody's going to come down except for Monspice on back. Everybody else is going to come down pit road and get 4 tires and fuel in the cars.
And taking a look at some of those strategy calls as they will be. The 88 to Churchman, a little bit of issues, overshoots that stall, has to shift it into reverse. 2 tires and off and away. It looks like pretty much 2 right side tires, gas and go for the majority of this field. And they'll roll off for the pit lane, but it is the number 54 of Brandon Cruz Montevice. Maybe staying out just to get that bonus point, or will he take the gamble after he pitted just 20 laps ago? Nonetheless, the Small Town Computer Chevrolet to the top spot at Talladega, 2/5 of the way home in the JMP Customs 266, the championship race with the Cora Sunday Buddy Series under another safety clean caution flag here from Lincoln, Alabama. We'll step away for another yellow of our own, come back for the restart. You're watching Cora Sunday Money on LSRTV.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. also bringing forward a number of configurations. So there's chicanes that they've installed since the track's early days. So they can use original very high speed configurations of the track where the cars would just blow through where the chicanes are today, or they could use a more modern version. So it's pretty.
Back live at the Talladega Super Speedway. The lights are off on top of the iRacing.com Ford First Mustang pace car. We're set for another American Ethanol restart at the Talladega Super Speedway. The JMP Customs 266 is round 24 out of 24. Chase race 5 of 5 in the Season 5 championship with the Cora Sunday Muddy Series. We're glad to have you with us along for the ride. And it's a close championship entering tonight. A lot has shuffled up in the opening 2/5 of this race. We expect no different rolling forward. Monts of Ice leads it. Damon Gilbert, the final car on the lead lap, in 16th position. Joel Wood would get the lucky dog. However, that machine involved in his third incident that brought out this yellow. No more quick fixes. That car, Carl, came down, still heavily damaged, may no longer be competitive for the remainder of the evening. And then Sal Accardi and Daniel E. Miller sit 2 laps down in 18th and 19th. Monts of Ice has stayed out. Him and a couple of friends going to be at the front of the field with no fuel. The pace car diving down and away. 54 and 15 going to be the front row.
Pace car pulls off the track. Brandon Cruz, Monts of Ice, is going to just take his time here coming down to get into that start, and he is off. Brandon Cruz, Monts of Ice, really nice restart there with the outside of Dominic Dieball staying right with him. So Dominic not caught sleeping this time. Last week we saw, or last couple times we saw him got caught sleeping on the outside, but he got a really good restart this time. They are in communication with each other, so they probably knew exactly when each other was going to take off. Now, Brandon Cruz, Monts of Ice, and Dominic Dieball up here to the front of this pack. Let's see if they can dominate it like they did 2 weeks ago.
And they went just a hair before the green flag dropped. And again, you pointed out that very important fact there. Teammates are important, especially at Talladega. Brandon probably told Dominic when he was going to go. Hit the loud pedal, 15 followed. That's how they're so far ahead of everybody else. That guaranteed that it was Dominic Dieball who was able to get that number 15 machine in behind the 54, and that Sedlak or Bailey or anybody else would not get in the way and separate that duo. So that pair for there, the top 2 spots behind them, 3rd and 4th, led by Dan S. Bailey. Still that SpongeBob Aaron's Dream Machine 08 Toyota Camry being pushed up to 3rd. He's got help from Nick Doucette. Nick Doucette in that number 51 machine going to go to the outside. How about a battle for the top spot at a quarter 2?
It didn't take any time at all before Dan Bailey and Nicholas Doucette got up here either. Doucette's going to be pushing him strong just like he did the last time, right up to the outside. Let's see if they're going to be able to make this work like they did on the far outside when they made it 3 wide to go for the lead the last time by. Looks like they're not going to be able to do it quite as easily. Looks like they're going to fall back. No, here they come again one more time. They're going to get one more strong run as they come down across the start-finish line. It is going to be Dan S. Bailey leading this race one more time.
The struggle we've seen with the outside is that they can't get clear. Well, it has been the Woodridge machines that have been dominant as far as making the outside work. Dan Bailey has the lead at the start-finish line. Does he clear them? No. Does he slide back through 1 and 2? Yes, but you don't need to clear anybody coming down to the white flag. You just need that nose over him. It's exactly what that 08 had that time by. They remain side by side, 2 rows deep, and you think that the top 4 battling like this is going to allow 5th on back to catch them. You're exactly right. Sedlak, and how about George Bark now to get that number 44 machine up through the field. Picked up checkered flag number 4 just 1 week ago in Charlotte. Only one other driver has more, and that's Damon Gilbert. If Bark wins it, he'll join that 5-win club on the year. The 44 started in 18th, has kind of been quiet, and he wants to join the party up front.
Well, of course he wants to join the party. He's only sitting 2 points back out of the points lead right here coming into this race. And right now we're looking at Michael Churchman, who is struggling here. Like I said, he has not been able to find anybody to work with here this entire race. He's been out here pretty much by himself, sitting around the 7th and 8th position here most of the race. Just, like I said, not able to find anybody to work with. Put George Barks up there right now sitting in the 6th position. That's a championship right there. That's the deciding factor on how this championship may go. Nathan Sedlak's only 1 position ahead of George Barks. He has to be a little bit more than that in order to make this championship work. So, Michael Churchman needs to find somebody in a hurry to work with here, because this race, we're already halfway through, and he's sitting back here, 8th position, and he's got championship contenders sitting up here in front of him. So he's got to do everything he can to get himself back up front. But first thing he's got to do is find somebody to work with.
And you got to look back to when Sedlak and Churchman, they found each other at the very start of the race, Carl. It looked like it was well executed. It looked like it was a well-oiled machine. They knew what they were doing. But then they separated. They left each other and they haven't been back together since. Could be something interesting to notice. Churchman now struggles and he's working right now with Dylan Ackert. They have not quite caught the leaders. The 44, the 35 have, and almost give the assist on this to George Mark and Sedlak. They go up, they go behind the 08 and the 51 on the high side. From that little bit of extra oomph around him, and that time by the start-finish line, Dennis Bailey once again in the lead, but he is now cleared down to the bottom. The 51 Nick Doucette still knows there's a challenge up high, so the 51, who has done an exceptional job tonight at pushing, especially on the back bumper of that 08 so far this evening, continues to keep him locked down the back straightaway. George Bark up high, challenging with Nathan Sedlak. As they said right now, Bark in front of Churchman on track. That's good news for the 44 camp. They have to perform a swap, but then again, the 51 hasn't had to, so somehow, someway, Doucette's got this thing locked down as far as the drafting.
Well, I've been watching the Dominic Dieball, Brandon Cruz Montevice. I almost killed his name there. I've been noticing that with Dominic. He is able to get up there and push, and they get a really strong push going, but he has to back off and pull down or pull up, whatever he's got to do to get air back in the front. I'm just thinking he's running way too much tape on that car, and he's just not able to stay as cool as he needs to stay in there and push. But he has to stay off for a good long period of time. That is what happened, why they lost the lead in the first place there, because it got to the point where Dominic Dieball was just way too hot. They didn't have time to make any kind of a switch, so he just had to back off, drag the brakes a little bit, get off the back end of Montevice, get air in that car, and that gave the opportunity to Dennis Bailey and Nicholas Doucette to get up here and take this lead. They were pushed, but the big story there was, I think Dominic Dieball just had to back off. He had no choice because he was getting ready to blow.
And that's the balance you have to find. We talked about the whole open setup thing earlier on in this race. We're almost at the halfway point. That you put more tape, it means that car is going to be a lot faster. There's going to be less resistance on the front of that machine. It'll be faster. However, it gets hot a lot quicker. So you got to strike a balance. And these guys have not only again used that hour practice session before the qualifier tonight to fine-tune things. They've practiced throughout the week. I know the Wood Wrench guys have hosted a lot of practice sessions for all of the Cora teams to come out, practice, work on their cars. They've tried to find that perfect balance of tape level and still leaving enough space to get enough air to the grill. And at least for now, we don't know. Maybe that 51's, his dashboard's just blinking like a Christmas tree right now, but it's worked so far. So it looks like Doucette may have the correct, at least balance to this point in the race. The top 6 are in one group, 7th all the way through to 10th position are in another, 11th on back to about 13th, and you really spread out once you get out of that lead group. Quite a few stragglers that time by, though. We took the halfway point. Let's give you the LSRTV mid-race leaderboard. Dennis Bailey leads tonight. He's up in the front spot in the 08 Aaron Stream Machine. SpongeBob Toyota. Nick Doucette sits second in the number 51 machine. Brandon Cruz Montevice is third in the 54 car. Dominic Dieball right now sits in fourth. George Bark up 13 spots. He's P5 in the 44 right now. Nathan Sedlak is 6th, up from 20th. A.R. Johnson is 7th on the racetrack right now. P8 is John Pansula. Dylan Ackert right now in 9th. And as they run 10th position is Michael Churchman.
11th position, we're going to find Wes Campbell. He's being followed closely right now, being pushed, as a matter of fact, by James Brown, the CEO of Cora. Then we're going to fall back about 5 seconds till we find Damon Gilbert and Ronald Hacker. Then we're going to have Ryan Borges and Charlie Starks sitting back here in 15th and 16th position. 17th is going to be Dennis Bailey. He is going to be the first car 2 laps down. Salacardi's also 2 laps down. And then we're going to find Joel Wood here with all the damage sitting on pit road, trying to get some more repairs done on that car. He is now going to be 6 laps down this time by. So his night's just over with. He don't have a chance at all with all that damage. He's done.
That team appears to be now done with this race. They sit stationary on the pit lane. The car's heavily damaged. He's still behind the wheel of it. He has not climbed out yet, so the crew is at least attempting repairs, but at 5+ laps down already. call a spade. Their night, unfortunately, is done after really back-to-back series of unfortunate events where he just found himself in a compromising position and just couldn't catch a break on any of those early race incidents. Getting involved in 3 of them, you get 2 quick fixes. That's the risk that we talked about when we documented Michael Churchman. Got the side damage earlier on. You thought he might try to not take a quick fix, which is new. Before, they didn't even have that option. It was a lot more scarce. You could have a quick fix and, you bump somebody, and maybe it doesn't even register any, physical damage, but the sim registers a 0x for that contact. Come down pit lane, it takes away your quick fix on you. Recently, the drivers now have the ability to select when they want to use it. You can check it to use it or uncheck it to not use it, much like how we were talking about maybe the possibilities of Nick Doucette having those issues with the tires on the pit lane earlier. You thought he might try to save it. He ended up taking it. He's down to 1. So far, so good, though. Getting through it, caught a break in an incident at a 2, was able to sneak on by, and it looks like he's slowly starting to get some speed now. Dylan Ackert giving him the push in 8th and 9th. They're over 2 seconds off the top spot. Once they get up to what's going to be J.R. Johnson, the 37 in 7th, and John Pansula, the 01 in 8th, they are able to get by these guys, or if they'll just decide to form a 4-car pack, all these guys are 2 seconds off the top spot, and the leaders at the moment aren't really fighting all that much. Bark's going to go to the high side with Sedlak, but I think it would be quite a tough task for 4 cars to catch 6 up front if 2 seconds are back. But it could be bad news for these guys if we go green all the way. I'm sure our leaders wouldn't complain about a little bit less competition to deal with.
No, absolutely not. But looking over here in the YouTube chat, Joel Wood has just joined us over there in the chat, and he says the 79 is done for the day. So 79 is going to be retiring. He's going to be pulling behind the wall. He's going to be climbing out of the car here pretty soon, I guess, and he's probably just sitting there trying to cool off. He's had a hard day. So Joel Wood officially out of the race. But back up here in the front, though, Dan S. Bailey, Nicholas Doucette, they are just doing everything that they need to do to stay up here in the front. Brandon Cruz Monsiváis, he's sitting here in 3rd position. He's being pushed really strong. Well, he was, and one more time. Like I said, Dominic Dival, I'm just wondering, I got to wonder if he's got too much tape on the thing. Because he was pushing him really hard there for a little bit, and just now just had to back off him again and stop pushing so we can get that air back in that grill.
And something you'll see is when you're really digging, you're going to be squared up with a back bumper. When you're kind of riding in line like Nick Doucette right now, and you really don't have a huge challenge up high, like you'll see, 51's not pushing you 08. Why? Because it's single file. If Bark gets up there with Sedlak, he'll get on his back bumper and go, but a lot of the time what the drivers will try to do is they'll try to stagger a little bit. They'll stick the nose out a little bit to the side, hopefully trying to get a little bit of air to the front of that machine, keep the engine temps cool. That's one thing that if you can master, can really help you with the pushing. That could be one of the strategies that the 51 is using. But I mean, even without pressure, still giving them bumps, still keeping up their speed. I mean, our leaders, Dan S. Bailey just hit 210 miles an hour down into quarter number 3. Are you kidding me?
Them guys are just hauling it up here in the front of this pack. 210 miles an hour, that is a lot. That's pulling a lot of speed going into that turn, which is pulling a lot of G's on it. But
I didn't know we took the restrictor plates off.
But I don't know if you're watching this Dan S. Bailey car, but this has got to be unnerving to these guys behind him. Every so often, he keeps blinking off, and he leaves the track, comes back on, and every time he does that, Nicholas has to back off because he's not sure exactly where the car is. So I know every time I've been out there, especially at a super speedway, and I had a car do that to me, it's just a very unnerving feeling. You're up here, you're trying to push this guy. You don't know where he's going to go when he comes back on the racetrack. It could be a disaster if this happens too many times and he gets up in there. And Kevin McCarthy sees this. He's going to have to probably say something to him because that's one of the things that Cora has in place. If your car cannot stay solid on the racetrack, you will be black flagged. And Dan S. Bailey now several times has blinked out here in the lead.
Well, that's one of the things that we have to talk about a lot in this sim racing. I always call like a connection issue something similar to what you would have of a mechanical failure in real life. And it is very difficult to control that. Your constant connection to the sim. That's what we've seen, and we've documented the troubles for Ryan Borges. 2 out of the 4 races so far in this championship, he has dropped connection in the middle of it. Tonight he has, but it was before qualifying. So he did not qualify, was able to get back in and make the race. But again, still the possibility, because that connection's a little bit unstable, that you could either blink out like we see the 04 have, where the car disappears for a moment. He'll come back, but that could, again, get very hairy if there's other guys moving around on track and they don't see him. He comes back up, you're into somebody, very easy to make an incident from that, or just, again, completely drop entirely from the sim, and that would be really a worst-case scenario if you're talking about some sort of connection deal. Everybody has a partner, but our new Ryan Borges this time by. The car left out to dry is the 99 of Charles Starks. Again, it was that number 32 before we got the caution. Was the number 99 Ohio State Chevy in 16th position. 35 seconds off the top spot. In 16th is the 99. He is 35 off the top spot and really has no help. Was just about to say that we got one more cycle of pit stops before we're done here. Here they come. The top two stay out. The next two in line gonna hit the pit lane. Brandon Cruz, Montsevice, Dominic Dieball driving it in hard to the pit lane. Beautiful entry by both of them. Very difficult, Carl, to go in with somebody side by side like that. They timed that perfectly. Great entry. They just need to execute in the stall.
It's very difficult, especially when you're coming down at these kind of speeds. You know, you got to bring that thing down to a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit on this pit road. You're coming from 200 miles an hour basically off that racetrack, coming down and hitting that pit road at that kind of speed. That could get ugly. I mean, we've seen it many times here, especially in the B race last 2 weeks ago, where it didn't seem like anybody could get down on pit road without spinning that car out. We've seen, I think, about 4 or 5 cars spin and hit that inside wall there coming down off the racetrack. But those guys just did a beautiful, beautiful job coming down off the racetrack, got in, got their pit stops done. Both of them took on 4 tires and fuel. Might as well take on 4. Take that long to put the fuel back in these cars anyway. So these guys took on 4 tires and fuel, and they're back out on the racetrack.
And it was a well-done execution as well. They're on the apron, getting back up to speed. Nobody else yet to come down pit road with them. All eyes up front on the likes of Dan Bailey, Nick Doucette. It is risky, but it doesn't appear that you're going to lose the lead lap if you're with our leaders, because those guys that have pitted, they are still sitting on the lead lap as they go right now. A couple of cars in, the 35, the 44, Sedlak and George Bark in for service. Those drivers come in. It actually looks like Sedlak took gas only and no tires. Quite different from what we saw our last group. Daniel Miller overshot the stall a little bit, so a whole bunch of different strategies. Here come the leaders. Dan S. Bailey in, and Nick Doucette just drove her harder, and it's going to be the True Speed Motorsports 51 who actually hits the pit lane in front of that 08.
Riding down along here with Nicholas Doucette now as he's coming down here looking for his pit stall. He has found it. He's getting ready to pull in here. Beautiful entry into the pit stall. Let's see what he's going to do. See if he's going to take tires and fuel. Looks like he's just going to take inside tires one more time. He has not taken the left side or the right side tires at all here this entire race. This is the second time I've seen him down pit road. Just took left side tires and fuel. He's backing away, and along with, it looks like his partner one more time, Dan S. Bailey, is right behind him, and they're back out on the racetrack.
The Bailey overshot his stall, had to back up. That is what is going to attribute to that gap that you see. 51 going to back it off. Smart move so they can get hooked up at a 2. But that'll cost you about a half a second, depending on how long it takes you guys to really get back drafting. You see the 35 and the 44 past them. Those guys have already pitted, so you're going to go for the top 2 spots. You just got passed by drivers that were behind you before you hit the pit lane. Now we got a big party going on up front. The top 7 yet to come down the pit lane, trailed by Ronald Tacker, led by J.R. Johnson. And they're 2 wide down the quarter number 3. Doesn't look like they're planning on pitting this time, because you'll know, because typically pitting 2 wide in the corner, diving down to the pit lane doesn't work all that well. So at least Churchman, Borges, and that 61 of Ronald Hacker don't plan on pitting this time by. Nobody on the inside ducks down quite yet either. But the top 7, top 8 have yet to pit. However, Dylan Ackert is fallen off of that lead draft. He's 3.6 seconds behind them. 9th on back have pitted. The execution on behalf of Sedlak and Bark Carl will put them to the top spot if everything cycles through, after they over-executed Doucette and Bailey to pass them, getting back up to speed. But now all eyes have to go on these next 8 cars that still need service. This would be close to what would be the final stops.
I'm thinking we're seeing some big news happening here right now. Ryan Borges and Michael Churchman, teammates, Storm Motorsports cars here, have finally teamed up together, and Michael Churchman got up here, got his extra points now for leading a lap. But the big news is Ryan Borges and Michael Churchman, they're probably going to pit together, and maybe this might be the saving grace that Churchman's been needing. He needed somebody to get out here and run with him and help him. He's been out there, like I've said before, by himself most of this race. Now he's got a teammate right on his back bumper. So I'm sure you're going to see these guys pit together, come back out together, and hopefully be able to work together and help push Churchman back up to the front of the pack where he needs to be if he wants to win this championship.
And it's a waiting game. It's going to be closing in on 30 laps to go. Churchman, Borges, Johnson, Panzula, Campbell, Brown, Hacker, and Ackert have yet to pit behind them. George Barca and Sedlak have opened up a 2.5-second gap over Dan S. Bailey and Nick Doucette, who led before this cycle of pit stops began. We're inside of the final half of this race, still keeping an eagle eye on when these drivers will hit the pit lane. We will step away for a moment. We'll go LSRTV side by side and keep an eye on all the action at Talladega. Back live at the Talladega Super Speedway, still waiting on what is the top 8 drivers to come down and hit the pit lane. Still J.R. Johnson atop the pile after starting shotgun on the field in 19th position. Leads up at the front. Just moments ago, though, a move put on him. You see just in front of these guys, last cars on the lead lap. Over people that have already pitted, the 09 just in front of our leader appears to be a second place car, but again, the first 2 in line are lap cars. The 09 machine sitting there right now has already come down to the pit lane. That is Daniel E. Miller. He is 2 laps down. He's given the hand to Damon Gilbert, trying to help out that 68, who is currently the final car on the lead lap. Still Sedlak, Bark, Bailey, Doucette, Dieball, all of these guys now. 4 cars stacked up, 9th through 12th position, have completed their service. they may take the lead. We assume that they would once these top 8 pit. Obviously, what all of these guys want to happen is they want to be able to slowly make up time on everybody behind them, and then when they pit, come out in front of them, end up in the lead. That's what Sedlak and as well what Bark did to get in front of Dan S. Bailey and Nick Doucette. It looked like they had control over this race, Carl. Now the 08, though, and the 51 not rolling over. They have caught up to the back bumper of George Bark, and well, the way that 51's been pushing tonight, I would not be surprised if they make a move.
Talk about cars that are making a move right now. It looks like the 05 of Wes Campbell and James Brown, they're making moves because they just got around Brian Borges and Michael Churchman for the 3rd and 4th position, and now they're right up on the back bumper now of our leaders, John Pansula here and J.R. Johnson. Looks like they're getting real racy, wanting to get up here and see if they can get up here and get their noses out front, get some air time, and take this lead.
And we watch this battle very closely, albeit it is a battle for 10th place, 9th place on back, but that's because, again, everybody in front of them have yet to come down pit road. They're not going to make it all the way. They're just stretching it a little bit longer. It's not quite since the last time everybody was on pit road, not quite 2 full fuel runs, so one of them's going to be shorter than the other. The guys that have pitted making their longer run here at the end. They want that car to be as light as possible coming to the checkered flag. These guys taking their longer stretch of fuel early, and they're going to come in for a splash and go, which again, 35 seconds is the gap they have. You come in, if they're doing the numbers correctly, Carl, only take enough fuel that you need, even go no tires, come out, you're going to be a shorter pit stop delta. You may just step in up in front of them. So the pit strategy could decide who wins here at Talladega, or at least who gets in a position to try to fight for it. But Churchman, he needs this group to win that battle because he's 3rd. He hopes their strategy pays off. George Bark is in that 2nd group. He hopes their strategy pays off. So the pit strategy not only determining which group will lead it coming to the checker and into these final laps, but it could also be the determining factor in the championship.
Well, being that these guys are sitting right behind the guys who will potentially be the leaders after their pit stops are done, these guys only have to go in and maybe take a splash and go to finish this race, a little bit more than a splash and go to finish this race off. Maybe only take a half a tank of fuel. By the time they get in, get on pit road, put the fuel in this. This is a really big racetrack. This is a 2.66 mile racetrack here. Yeah, these guys are covering a football field a second, but it's still not out of the realm of possibility. These guys get in and take whatever fuel they need and get right back on the racetrack and still come out ahead of these guys. So yeah, I mean, pit strategy is huge right now, and these guys are running as many laps as they possibly can to see if, make it so they the less fuel that they have to put in these race cars. I just saw a little puff of smoke there. Where'd that come from?
We have a big pass for P8, though. It is Dan S. Bailey with the push from Nathan Sedlak. They will go to 8th. They will go to 9th. They will pass, with the push from Nick Doucette, they will pass Nathan Sedlak and George Bark, the 44 and the 35. Now 3rd and 4th in that train of 4 cars that have already completed service. Still a long way from being done in this one. Look at J.R. Johnson. Let's go on board with that number 37, Carl. He's your race leader. You wouldn't guess it, though. He's got 4 guys in front of him that are still technically on the lead lap. One of them's a lapper working with the lead lap car. He is in so much traffic after you think being on the top spot would give you clean air. That's not the case here.
Yeah, this is a kind of an unusual situation for the leader to be, and usually the leader, like you said, he's out in clean air by himself. But he's sitting back here mired in traffic as you have cars that are 25, 30 seconds behind, 47 seconds behind, because Brandon Cruz Montevice right now is the last car on the lead lap, and he is doing everything he can to stay up here right on the back bumper of Dominic Dieball, so he don't have to worry about going that lap down. But, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of an unusual situation for our leader to be in this kind of traffic, be behind people. The ideal thing is to get up in the lead, get all that air on the front of your car, and have a nice handling car because you're getting all the downforce. But he's getting all this dirty air here in this pack of traffic. So yeah, absolutely, that's a kind of an unusual situation for our leaders.
Trying to work with it. He's got a lot of traffic in front of him and too wide. How about to the outside? There goes Michael Churchman. The push from his teammate Ryan Borges, the 54. Gonna go up and shut the door for him, though. Montevice stalls out the run from the 88 and the 32. But if Churchman and Borges can get in front of J.R. Johnson and John Pansula, that could again be huge for Churchman in the championship, considering that he could possibly lead this group. They still stay up high, did not get the pass done that time. Tough part for these guys is Carl, they can't just clear our leader and jump in line because, again, there's those lap cars in front of them, making it that much more difficult. With the 88, if he can take control of this group, that would be big news, considering George Bark has lost control of that second group, now third in line in that battle instead of leading it.
Yeah, it's really making it tough here for these guys, because these guys in front of them, they don't want to go a lap down A. B, they're racing for position too. So they're not just going to pull over and let you go by just because you're behind them. They want to race for position. They want to finish the best they can in this race. And that's what we're looking at right now. These guys are just having a really tough time getting up here to make any kind of passes work. Because like you said, they get up here, they can't make that dive back down in front of the guy they're passing for the lead, because the leader's sitting right on the back bumper of another car.
Looking for the number 32 of Ryan Borges. He was working with Michael Churchman. We have documented the struggles that team has had, and it appears that Ryan Borges, Carl, for the third time in 5 chase races, may have just lost connection from the sim. He wasn't going to win at the things we're looking right now, but that's bad news for Churchman, because Churchman has not had any help all night long, and now his drafting partner gone in the blink of an eye.
Absolutely. This is a big blow to Storm Motorsports here in this championship hunt, as we get all of our leaders down pit road right now.
Taking a look at everybody that's coming down in. J.R. Johnson overshoots it. He's out in the grass. Maybe a speeding penalty. He took out the cone. Pansula is with him. Only 2 drivers stay out, Weston Campbell and James Brown. But all of these drivers are into the pit lane. Where do they end up when they blend back on track? J.R. Johnson. But more importantly, let's follow Michael Churchman. The number 88 Storm Motorsports machine comes in. He's all in, Carl. Final quick fix. Gas. Go. There goes the number 88. He's off of the pit lane. There's nobody with him, though. He's got about 25 car lengths off of the pit lane to the next car that would help him with the draft, Dylan Ackert. And there goes Dan S. Bailey. Goodbye. And for George Bark, that is huge, because the 44 just put the 88 in the rearview mirror. That could be huge, and that may have just determined the championship. Wes Campbell now pitting with James Brown. That's it for pit stops.
And it's official. I just looked down here, and Ryan Borges received his throughput penalty there. He fell out of the race, and just wait for him to come back on. But yeah, that is huge. Michael Churchman's going to be out here all by himself now. Nobody in front, nobody behind. What the implications are here, I don't know yet. We're gonna see how this plays out. But back up here to the front now, we're looking at right now Wes Campbell and James Brown, as they just finished up their pit stops, and they're going to be falling back through the field here very quickly, as our leaders are going to be now, looks like Dan S. Bailey and Nicholas Doucette one more time. Yes, here they come at the start-finish line. When they do cross, the scoring pylon is going to show Dan S. Bailey back up in the lead.
And George Bark leads over Nathan Sedlak. Indeed, it is Nathan Sedlak pushing George Bark. Sedlak would have to win this race over George Bark by a couple of spots if that 35 is to win the championship. If we get the checkered flag now, George Bark is going to be a Cora Sunday Money Championship, and he'll be walking away with the hardware, because, again, we talked about how that lead group, what they wanted to do was take less fuel. They wanted to end up in front of them. Not even the fact that Churchman doesn't have a partner, that even hurts more, Carl, that it took him an extended time to find somebody to work with. He had to wait for somebody, because everybody he pitted with a little bit slow on the pit stops. But not even that, he was still only doing about 120 out of the pit lane when Bark came flying through third in line with this lead group at full song. He now goes down the back straightaway. They're led by Dan S. Bailey. Wacker would be a great story as well for that team if they could get what would be their first checkered flag on the year after dominating tonight's race. Nick Doucette sits second in the race right now. He would as well not object to taking away a checkered flag, but it's George Bark in third, Sedlak in fourth. Again, Sedlak would need to win, and something would have to happen to George Bark late for the 35 to get it, but right now it's all that 44 if we're looking at points.
Ryan Borges officially fell 3 laps down after that fallout penalty where he fell out of the race. He is back on the track now. I know he's got to be very, very disappointed. He had some high hopes for tonight, and it's just been that kind of luck for him this whole last 5 races. Like you said, this is his 3rd time now out of 5 races of falling out of the race and coming back in. So if he gets a caution, Cora will give him his laps back as per the rules there. So that might be the saving grace if we have a caution flag come out. You got to wonder though, now that he's 3 laps down, is he going to see if he could find the Churchman machine and see if he could work with him and help him out and get him back up to the front of this pack?
Well, here's how they stack up right now because everybody is now sorted back out. Dan S. Bailey leads this race. Nicholas Doucette is 2nd. George Bark is 3rd. Sedlak is 4th. Again, right now, it is in the 44's hands. Weston Campbell, the 05 machine, is 5th right now, 6.8 seconds back. James Brown, see equal distance off in 6th, so those 2 machines working together. Damon Gilbert is 7th. Brandon Cruz Monsivice is 8th. 9th place is Dominic Dyball. And Michael Churchman is 10th, 11.7 seconds back. They got slaughtered on that cycle of green flag pit stops. There is no way you're making up 11.7 seconds in 15 laps of racing. He needs a caution.
We got John Pansula. He's sitting here in 11th position. J.R. Johnson, he's going to be sitting in 12th. 13th position, 1 lap down now, is going to be Ronald Hacker. Dylan Ackfart is the other car that's going to be a lap down. They are fighting for position, so if they do get a caution, one of those guys will get the lucky dog. Charles Starks is sitting here 2 laps down now, and he is in the 15th position. Also 2 laps down is going to be Daniel Miller. Like we said, Ryan Borges, he is now 4 laps down. He is back out on the racetrack, and one car that is the first car that's going to be out of the race now is going to be Salacardi. He blew his engine here a few laps back. He's going to be sitting 22 laps down, and the driver who has had a heck of a night is going to be Joel Wood. He was in 3 incidents that pretty much put him out of the race. He is sitting here 40 laps down and out of the race.
And that's where they stack up as we go right now. The top 4 all over each other. It is in the 44's hands, but again, nothing clear in George Bark. We've seen a couple times tonight. Contact in the back end, gets a car loose. You can end up in a fence. The car pushing George Bark, well, it's teammates with Michael Churchman. Sedlak could try to leave George Bark. I'm not sure if that would really work, but the 35, again, he'd be more benefited by the troubles for the 44 team, not only for his own championship hopes, but for Churchman's as well. And it's funny that he's been the one that ended up pushing George Bark around his own teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you would figure, their teammates, let's drop down and work with our other teammate here who is our points leader and see if we can get one of our guys up here and win the points. But, Nathan Sedlak's thinking in other ways. He's wanting to defend his championship, and if he knows that his best chance is to beat his own teammate by as many positions as he possibly can, maybe that's what's going through his head. But it is kind of odd that he went with the guy who's sitting there in 2nd place for that. So, yeah, you're right there. That was kind of a weird pick, I believe.
And I need to look back again to the start of that, and we can't emphasize this enough. Churchman and Sedlak, they were together before we even exited corner 2. We thought that was the game plan. They separated, and they had not gotten back together all night long. Churchman was working with Borges. Churchman lost a big push and a big drafting partner right before the end of this one when Borges dropped from the sim. Those 2 things combined, not working with the 35 and then having your other Score Motorsports machine drop out of the race, could very well be what did that number 88 in. Again, you mentioned Sedlak still in it. They're going to make it side by side, 2 rows deep, 2 sets of 2, 1 up high and 1 down low, down the Alabama gang back straightaway, down into quarter number 3. This time by 10 laps to go at Talladega. Do we stay green? Bart goes high. He'll pull a swap with Sedlak for 3rd and 4th as they try to draft around Dan Bailey and Nicholas Doucette as well. But I'll tell you what, Sedlak trying to defend his championship, enters tonight 14 points off the top spot. Carl, last season, when he entered the final race, it was a lot more than 14 and he got the job done. So tonight could be no different. He's still well in possibility of walking away on top.
Well, the only thing he'd have to see right now would be the 44 car have something happen to it. That's
35 sideways, look out! Oh my gosh, they hang on.
Close call there by the 35 car of Nathan Sedlak as he got squirrely there. As he got, it looked like George Bark just got up into him a little bit too hard and got him squirrely coming out of the turn there. Close call though for one of our points leaders here. Whew. Got to catch my breath on that one.
That would have handed it to Churchman. on a silver platter. Neither of them can afford something like that, and it was that close. Actually, that may have given Damon Gilbert an advantage, because Gilbert, 4th in the standings, 5th on track right now, in front of Michael Churchman. There is so much still to be undecided, but it is all circumstantial. What that does do is that it takes Sedlak and Bark back from Dan S. Bailey and Nick Doucette. They should be able to catch them. They caught them when it was a 2-second gap. It's only half a second gap right now. If they push and if they stay in line, they should be able to get back up to them. But they went to the outside. They still want to win this race. If I'm George Bark, looking at the points, I'm not going back to the outside. Just stay low, play it safe. You're good right now. The question is, though, does he follow Sedlak, or does Sedlak push him somewhere? They continue to work together in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, you got to wonder there, because right now, as long as he stays right where he's at, George Barks will win this championship. There's no way that Nathan Sedlak can make up that many points to get ahead of Barks for this. But, you know, these guys are true racers. They want to get out there and they want to win these races. And points championship on the line or not, you know, George Barks is one of those kind of drivers who he's going to do, like he said, whatever it takes to, you know, get his car up there at the front of this race, because that's all he's looking for every week, is to win a race. He's got the championship, you know, in the back of his mind. But first and foremost for him, as he told us last week in the interview, I want to win. That's plain and simple for Barks.
The clock continues to wind down less and less. Laps remain, 12 drivers on the lead lap. We almost saw what would have been a catastrophic mistake just a couple of laps ago in quarter 2. Can Bark hang on? Sedlak in front of him on track right now. Bonus points could be huge as well. If Sedlak is pushed to the front by Bark, lead a lap bonus point, that could be a huge beneficiary for the 35 camp. But coming down to the end, almost in range, and in about 3 or 4 laps, a caution would end this. So the hope is starting to run out quicker and quicker for Churchman and company.
Watching Nathan Sedlak and George Barks one more time, they pushed back up there. They caught these guys up here in the lead, took a look to the outside to see what they could do with them. They couldn't do anything, so they're going to fall back now to the 3rd and 4th position. One more time, they're going to take a look to the outside. Nothing doing, though, because doesn't look like, well, it looks like they're just going to go ahead and make a switch one more time. And this seems to be the faster combination here with Sedlak pushing. They were faster with Sedlak pushing last time. Let's see if they can get this done, because here they come back out to the outside. And Nicholas Doucette takes a look to the outside there. He was saying maybe he could get pushed by the 44, but he drops back down in front of the guy who he's been following all race long, and that's Dan S. Bailey.
Thinking about it, playing some games. That second group of cars is Damon Gilbert and Dominic Dieball. They are 13 seconds back, still in 5th and 6th. Not close enough to challenge. You can see all the drivers in the running order at the top of the screen on the ticker, as well as their intervals are there, so you can see how far back they are. That is a couple of groups of cars, at least at the moment. We got big trouble for this second group of cars. Looks like that Brandon Cruz Monsivice in the 54, that machine has gotten damaged after he made contact with Michael Churchman. The 88 machine got into Monsivice, and now he's a little bit damaged working with the 29. 14 seconds off. They were trying to close. That may have been the final nail in the coffin. Meanwhile, side by side for the top spot. Look at this. Sedlak will get to the top spot. George Bark is going backwards, and the 35 jumps up and catches the 44. What a move. If Sedlak just stayed down low, George Bark may have lost the draft.
And that's pretty much what I think wanted to do, but I don't understand why he would have came back up. I would have just stayed down there in front of Dan S. Bailey and let Dan S. Bailey push me around to the wind. There's only just a couple handfuls of turns left to go here, but he didn't. He pulled back up here and got back up in front of George Barks, and they lost the lead. Dan S. Bailey and Nicholas Doucette one more time, go back up here to the front. But here comes one more time also George Bark pushing Sedlak back up here for the lead, coming down here into turn number 3.
George Bark needs these spots now. Churchman, although he got damaged, a couple other cars in that falling off for the lead lap. No caution flag thrown. Churchman 6th, George Bark 4th. 2 points separate them. That can literally be just that one sole position on the racetrack. Churchman desperately needs the number 29 of Dylan Ackert to push him past Damon Gilbert. George Bark desperately needs to push that 35 and go with him around that number 08 of Dennis Bailey. And again, Carl, we just said it. If that 35 didn't come back to help out George Bark, Churchman could win this championship, but he helps him out, and right now, the 44 may get it really down to the nitty-gritty. Going to be 2 laps to go this next time by. A caution would end it if it flies, and the drama is all over the racetrack. It's just so close.
I know I wouldn't want to be down in that Storm Motorsports team speak right now, because them guys have to be shouting each other on what's going on that racetrack, especially being that Nathan Sedlak came back up there to help the 44 car, who, if he would have let him go, that would have given a very good chance for Michael Churchman to get up here, like you said, and win this championship. But instead, he pulled up in front and let him pull right back up, and now they're pulling in first and second position on the racetrack.
To the outside they go. Sedlak almost clear. George Bark not quite. He's going to take matters into his own hands to the inside. No, jumps back now behind the 35 at 2 laps to go. Churchman still. Now he goes 88 to the inside on the 68. It's a fight for P5. The championship may hang in the balance. Michael Churchman getting pushed by the 29. He's fighting with Damon Gilbert. If he can pass him, that makes it only 1 spot separating George Bark in 4th and Churchman in 5th. Only 2 points separate them. White flag for Dan Bailey.
Well, right now, Dan Bailey and Nicholas Doucette doing everything that they can do to stay out here in the front of this pack. But one more time, here comes Nathan Sedlak and George Barks. They're taking a look to the outside one more time. They're going to drop back in line and coming down the backstretch. They're going to pull back out, see if they can make this pass.
Bark needs it. Last season, it was separated by just 1 point. Tonight could be an exact same situation. Bark down 2 points. He's up by just 1 position. He needs 1 more if he wants to get some insurance on it. And the 51 blows the engine. That is going to be it. Trouble for Nick Doucette. He's going to blow the engine. George Bark will take over 3rd. Sedlak to 2nd. He wants to win to the high side of the fence. Can he get it? No. Dan Bailey wins it, but Nick Doucette loses the engine, Carl. He'll still coast the line in 4th. That puts 1 more car in between Michael Churchman and George Bark. Gilbert going to now pass the 88 at the start-finish line, and in the final 15 seconds, the 2 things that Churchman could not afford to happen did, and instead of being just 1 spot behind George Bark, he'll finish 6th. Bark finishes 3rd. What a wicked finish. That whole final stint, that was the closest you could have ever drawn this one up. What a race.
Writers could not write this better. That was just one heck of a finish to the season. That's got to be a heartbreaker, though, for Michael Churchman. He probably doesn't know exactly what's going to happen yet. But, we're sitting out here. We see what's going to happen. We see that we know the points, how they're separated. And, yeah, that's pretty much going to hand this to the 44 of George Barks. It looks like George Barks is going to take this championship. But this is all just speculation. We'll have to see what's going to happen when they make the official announcement here after this, everything is said and done. But give the win to Dan Bailey. Congratulations out there. Great run today.
The SpongeBob
Sat
car.
out there in the SpongeBob's car. Led the most laps and just did a wonderful job out there being pushed by Nicholas Doucette the entire night and won the race.
Sedlak almost stole it from him, but he hangs on. George Bark comes home 3rd, and again, it's a Storm Motorsports Chevrolet that drafts with George Bark that ends up giving Bark the upper hand over another Storm Motorsports entry. Churchman P6, George Bark P3. We expect it to be the number 44 to take home the championship. Clearly, after it was only a 2-point gap and each spot's a couple of points in between them, we do not have official words yet from Race Control. They are reviewing the finish and double-checking the points, but we do believe George Bark is your Sunday Money champion. We are going to step away from the Talladega Super Speedway, get our numbers confirmed, and come back for the trophy presentation, interviews, and the post-race show. You're watching Sunday Money on LSRTV. What a wicked finish. And
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it in at 4. Who's it going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Cars are lined up on the grid. The Irish.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn one for the first time.
Back live at the Talladega Super Speedway. The numbers are still being crunched in what was an unbelievably close and unpredictable white flag lap at Talladega that has these guys in the tower double and triple checking the points before we make an official statement on it. George Bart entered 2 points behind Churchman. He sits 2 spots in front of him on the racetrack. Bonus points, though, may become a factor, Carl. in this race. It was a wild one, to say the least. And again, we still wait on official number. Last year was only a 1-point differential, and well, tonight may not be any difference. But to get things kicked off, I'm down in Gatorade Victory Lane with the driver of the number 08 Aaron's Dream Machine. It's a Toyota Camry. SpongeBob on the car. You win it tonight in dominating fashion. Dan S. Bailey is your winner tonight at Talladega. Dan, first off, love the paint scheme. Second off, you were doing really, really good. You and Doucette worked all race. He was able to look like he pushed you better than anybody could push anybody all race. He lost the engine at the end. You throw the block, you hang on to it. You win at Talladega to close off the season. So first off, what does it mean to you to walk away in the season on a winning note? And then as well, how'd you take control of this race?
First, I want to thank the good Lord for giving me this win, and just thanks to Nick Doucette because he pretty much gave me that win. He just pushed me pretty much 70 laps in first, so I gotta thank him so much for that. And yeah, I mean, coming into here, I got some help from Damon, George, Nathan, and all those guys, and Daniel E. Miller for the setup, and it was really good. And yeah, first win, I like it.
A good way to go out in style, too, for the season on a positive note, winning this one. It was pit strategy that determined almost this race. We saw a lot of guys stay out. You pitted with Doucette, and it looked like Bark and Sedlak had you. They passed you. You guys got up to them. You passed them. You swapped it out a couple of times, and then you held on to the end. What was the thought process going into that final pit stop and when you would make that stop?
We just had to make sure we were good to the finish, and not speed, pretty much. That was my main goal and Nick's main goal. And we just had to come out within a few seconds, and we thought we could get right to them, and that's what happened.
You get the job done, and typically I'll ask somebody if they win, and it's really huge to get your first win. So again, congratulations on that. In race 24, you get the job done. But normally I'll say, does this carry some momentum going into the next week? Well, we're not racing again in the official Sunday Money Series till October. So it's quite, a lot of guys get to enjoy their win for 5-6 days. You get to enjoy it for a while and kind of enjoy that as we go on. We know there's a lot of stuff with Cora going on throughout the summer. Where are we going to find Dan Bailey racing throughout these summer months?
Probably around Cora. If they're doing another season or something other than the Sunday Money Series starting back in October, something in the summer, I'll probably be in it. And yeah, just this win is going to carry a lot of momentum into next season, and it's going to give me a good boost to run for the championship next year.
Well, you ended on a high note. Congratulations. Before we let you go and we continue to work on getting these championship points tabulated, because that was quite a wicked one tonight as well. You're the winner tonight. You beat everybody else. Sponsors and shout-outs. It's your opportunity to thank who makes it happen.
Just everybody, like Nathan, George, thanks to Nick tonight, Damon, Daniel, and thanks to SpongeBob for sponsoring me this race.
There you go. Again, loving the car. Congratulations. You're a winner this evening at Talladega. We wish you the best of luck throughout this summer months with Cora, and if not before, until then, we'll see you in October.
Yep. Thanks for broadcasting us. It's pretty awesome.
It is the SpongeBob car, the 08 Aaron's Dream Machine Toyota Camry that goes to victory lane tonight and walks away atop the pile. Goes out swinging in fashion, Carl. If you got to get a first win, the last race of the season, there's two sides of this. You're bummed because it's the final one and you can't say, all right, I got this. Let's go back and race some more. But he can enjoy it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely gets to enjoy it, like you said, up until October. I was just down. I just want to give you a little bit of an update here. I just went down and spoke to the CEO, James Brown here. He has given the numbers to the number crunchers up there. He's got them going in, but we're still waiting on word on who is going to be this points championship. It's going to be that close for them to get this figured out, find out who's got the most bonus points here in this race, and figure out who won this championship. But like I said, I did speak to James. They are working diligently, trying to get this done as quickly as possible. And just make a quick announcement here. We do have Cora is going to be starting their dirt series here in just a few short weeks now, over on a different sim, where we're going to be running the 360 sprint cars, wing sprint cars, same as you see them running out there in the World of Outlaws. So that's going to be kind of an exciting first time for Cora. It's not going to cost anything to race it this season. We're going to be putting this on for free. These guys will be able to come in and just enjoy their summer, have a good time, try something different.
So again, you see the top three parked on the start-finish line as they do every week. Dan Bailey, your winner. Nathan Sedlak, second. George Bark in third. What we think the standings will be George Bark, followed by Michael Churchman, and then followed by Nathan Sedlak via the finishing order that they're in. All those drivers as well, along with us, standing by, waiting just outside of the Cora officials hauler to get the official word on it. But again, entering tonight, Michael Churchman, 2 points over George Bark after Bark winning 1 week ago. And I said that if he got another one, he joined the 5-win club. Well, 2 spots short, but just about as good points-wise. Maybe comes back and steals this in the final 2 races after almost going into a little bit of a slump mid-season after winning the season opener in Daytona Beach back in October of 2014. And then there was Nathan Sedlak, 14 points off. We talked about how he was working with Bark, who was going against his teammate, but again, Sedlak wanted his own championship. He needed as much room in between himself and the 88 to make up those 14 points. Sedlak in second, Bark in third. What we again think it is going to be is George Bark, followed by Michael Churchman, followed by Nathan Sedlak. Sedlak could easily be in front, though, of Churchman. Again, we have to see, because Sedlak finishes in front of Bark. Don't think that one spot will give him a 12-point boost, but again, it is that close inside of the top 3. And the points are different the way they will sit now, Carl, than they did down the back straightaway. Down the back, it was George Bark in 4th, Churchman in 5th. Somehow, by the stroke of luck, George Bark gets a Hail Mary. Nick Doucette loses the engine at a 4 in a point where he still coasts across the line behind Bark, but in front of Churchman. That gives him 1 car of separation. That's really all that he needed. He may have still won it, even if there was no cars in between him. That, and then Damon Gilbert plays spoiler, gets a great push from Dominique Dieball, passes him on the outside, and goes up to 5th, drops Churchman to 6th. So much went down in those final 30 seconds. Include that in all the strategy that we saw in really the final 30 minutes of this, 30 laps of this race even. You said it. You can't even write a script this good.
Absolutely not. And unfortunately, I know, like I said before, I've been talking to George Barks all week, or excuse me, no, I've been talking to Michael Churchman all this week, and he has just had his heart set on this championship. And he said he's going to do everything he can do to get out here and win the race today and win the championship. And unfortunately, it looks like he is going to be playing second fiddle one more time, this time to a new points champion of George Bark, if this is the way it's going to be played out. And Nathan Sedlak was unsuccessful on defending his championship this season, which has got to be disheartening for him too, because I know he had high hopes for coming into these last couple of races and seeing if he could get up there and win the championship. So yeah, a lot played out here in those last 30 seconds, like you said, with Nicholas Doucette blowing an engine. I mean, how do you write this stuff? How do you, I don't think there's anybody out there with a twisted enough mind to be able to write it like that.
Let's give you the full field rundown and the finishing results from Talladega as we again wait on official points to make this championship for what we believe will be George Bark official. Dan Bailey finishes atop the top spot. Nathan Sedlak comes home second. It was a third for George Bark. Nick Doucette in 4th, a 5th for Damon Gilbert. Michael Churchman in 6th position, 7th to Dominique Dieball, and 8th for James Brown. Final car on the lead lap. And a whole lot of guys 1 lap down from late race contact as well. Ran out a little bit of fuel. We weren't watching them because we were following that championship battle so very closely. 9th was Ronald Hacker. Dylan Acker was 10th. 11th position to John Pansula. J.R. Johnson in 12th. 13th position to Weston Campbell. And 14th to Brandon Cruz Montsevice. All of those drivers finishing just 1 lap down. 2 laps down in 15th was Daniel E. Miller. Charles Starks in 16th position was 4 laps down along with Ryan Borges. Salicardi, Joel Wood rounded out what was a 19-car field this evening at the Talladega Super Speedway when it was all said and done after what was a total of 100 laps tonight in the JMP Customs 266. We now have on the radio with Cora officials, James Brown. Do we have an official word on our points?
We do, and thank you, Evan. Yeah, you never want these computers to work right, or they never work right when you want them to, but we manually crunched the numbers. And the season's 5 Cora Sunday Money champion is George Bark, followed by Michael Churchman and Nathan Sedlak. Bark won by 7-point margin over Churchman, and Michael Churchman was 3 points ahead of Mr. Sedlak.
So there you have it, Carl. The numbers that we thought, but again, they were so close. You hear all those single-digit intervals that it was almost just too close to call, and that is going to be indeed the order that they walk away with.
Yeah, like I said, it was going to be close. I wasn't quite exactly sure who it was going to be, but yeah, it did come down to that blown engine there by Nicholas Doucette there at the end of this race to call this and give George Barks the championship over one more time, second place, Michael Churchman. So I'm sure he's going to be heartbroken to finally find this out. I know these guys are sitting up here on pins and needles, but if you want to, let's see if we can get a word in with some of these guys and get their thoughts on this race and the championship.
And we've caught up down on the pit lane with the driver that comes home with a P2 tonight, and it is just made official. 10 points off the top spot, 3 off of the car in front of him. It is a third in the Cora Sunday Money Season 5 championship for the driver of the number 35, Nathan Sedlak. Nathan, first off, you started this race up inside the top 3. You finished up there. You were working with George Bark. It was a tough decision for you to work with the car that was racing, against a buddy of yours, but at the same time, you wanted as big as a gap between you and Churchman as well to try to get the championship in your own right. Walk us through this race, which was a long green flag stretch in that final half of it. Pit strategy and more involved coming down to a photo finish there. Walk us through the night. Walk us through what's going through your head.
Well, it's tough out here with this new draft model and everything. You got the guy behind you. You got to know what he's doing, and you got to kind of have some kind of contact with him and know maybe be able to talk to him. And I was teamed up with Daniel Miller at the beginning of the race, and I lost him right there early in that caution. And then I was kind of odd man out for the next 20 or so laps. And then George lost his partner, and I'm right behind him on a restart. And we texted each other and we got together, and I'm so torn there those last 60 laps. I'm so torn on what to do. I thought Churchman was going to be okay with Borges and they were going to be up there. Then I saw Borges fall through, and it was just a lot going on. The fuel strategy, like you said, we were looking for that 40 to go and try and get down there and then get alone and try and make as much time as we could. But like I said, I was so torn that whole race. You don't know what to do, where to go, who to go with. It's so tough because you really got to have a good guy that's going to work with you, and it takes a lot of time to get with somebody else and start over.
And it's very difficult to, write a script that, you would find yourself in that kind of a position, or a script that would really detail how close all of this came down to at the end of it. You look back on your performance in this season, you got a checkered flag to your name, 11 top 5s, 19 top 10s, and 2 poles, 10 points short. That could easily be 3 positions or 4 positions throughout the entire 24 race season. Really the final 5 races though in that championship. What was your assessment on how you guys performed this season?
Well, not too bad. I think it did real well coming off a championship. The pressure was off this year, and I led the points the majority of the season and went into the chase. The first race of the chase, I got caught up in a big wreck and didn't have any fixes left, and just a real bad spot there the first race of the chase, and that could have been the difference, I think, this year, because I was pretty consistent from that point on. But real good season. I enjoyed myself this year, and come back defending champ. Like I said, I'll take third, and I'll just go home with it. And won a couple individual championships and things like that with Gen 6 and IndyCar. So good season overall. We'll take it, and we'll go home.
$36 for both of those. You get paid out for a second tonight as well. A $50 purse for third in the championship. Not a bad night when it's all said and done. We know that you wanted to get another championship. We know that you wanted to go back to back, but you said it there. You already got one. You're playing on house money. enjoyed this season. You came home second, third in the championship. It was a hell of a run for you guys, making it close at the end. Before we let you go and head into an off-season, next time we'll see you guys with Sunday Money is going to be in October. There's a lot of Cora activities going on throughout the summer, but for the final time, sponsors and shout-outs, everybody throughout the year who makes that number 35 card tick.
Oh yeah, all the gentlemen I've worked with this year, from here in this race with George and all of his guys, and Michael Churchman, Ryan Borges, Don Stevenson early in the season, David Wink early in the season, Eric Sharp, all those guys over at Storm. They do a lot for me. They've done a lot for me the past 2 years, and I've been good enough to put their name up here and have some good finishes over the past couple of years, and we've done a real good job. But everybody at Cora, Kevin, James, Alan, wish you were around more. Yeah, everybody out there, all the drivers this season that stuck with it. It was a long season. We lost a lot of guys throughout the year, and it's good to finish it up in third place. Yeah, I'd like to get a little better, but it'll be nice to have a little break. It's been a long, grueling 24 races, so it's good to be done and good to have a third and hold my head real high, because it's been a heck of a 3 years with Rookie of the Year the first year, runner-up in points, then championship, and now third. So not too bad, but we'll like I said, we'll go to the house and everything will be good. And thank you to everything you guys do. I really appreciate it. Really enjoy your coverage.
Well, we've had a couple of opportunities, quite a few, to talk to you, Nathan, throughout this season with the solid runs that you and that 35 team have had. That's a pretty damn good resume. You listed them out there. Season number 5 is in the books, and I have no doubt that if we see you back for season 6, you'll be a title contender as always. Again, thanks for talking with us. Congratulations. Second tonight, your third place in the overall points. We'll see you in October.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.
That is your third place driver in the championship standings in the Storm Motorsports Chevrolet. The number 35 of Nathan Sedlak, -10, comes home in third. The driver that entered atop the top spot, he was our LSRTV in-race reporter. The cars just did not fall in the right direction when it happened the most. He'll come home with what's going to be a P6 finish tonight and second in the championship standings. Carl Jones, you've caught up in the number 88 pit. You're with Michael Churchman.
Yeah, I caught up here with Michael Churchman. I know you've got to be feeling it, the disappointment there. Once again, with a second place finish. I know I spoke to you earlier tonight, and I talked to you a couple different times over the course of this championship run, and you said you were looking to come out of this on top. And unfortunately, one more time, you're sitting here in second place. But nothing to hang your head about. You had a great season this year. Tell us a little bit about the race. Tell us what happened out there.
Well, it was kind of a mess from the get-go, and my teammate Ryan Borges, he fell out, lost internet connection there, and he had to start from the back, and pretty much nobody to work with up front. And a couple laps into it, I got door slammed by Sedlak, and pretty much damaged the right front side of the car, so I had to go and get that fixed. And yeah, we were making some pretty good headway there the last quarter of the race, and led a few laps, and then Ryan fell out again at the end there, so I pretty much I was a sit and duck, and managed to come home with a 6th place finish. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer. My hat's off to George for sure, though, for winning the. I knew I was gonna give it all I had to try to beat him, but like I said, hats off to him. And I think Nathan, he came home third in points, and congrats to all them guys. I like racing with them. They're good, hard racers.
Well, I will tell you, this came down to the last, like Evan told us here earlier, 30 seconds of this race on the backstretch when Nicholas Doucette blew his engine. You were right where you needed to be to win this championship. George was you were right behind George Barks for position. Then when Nicholas blew up, George got around him, and then Damon Gilbert got pushed in front of you. That is the two factors right there on which put you into the second place position this year again. But we're coming back here again in October. You look to be back here with Cora again, and looking for another championship. Try to get another championship next year.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'll try another season. So number 6 season.
Well, maybe 6 will be the charm for you. You did a great job this season here, though. I mean, you did come in and finish second in the points, and like I said, there's nothing to hang your head about there at all.
How
And,
many was it behind? I guess I didn't even get told.
You were 7 points behind the leader there, George Barks. At the end of this, when it all said and done, you were 7 points back. So you did have a great season. Like I said, nothing to hang your head about, and hats off to you. And just want to give you one last chance here at the end of this season here to thank any of your sponsors or anybody that helped make this possible.
Yeah, I want to thank all the teammates. Dave Wank, I know he hasn't been racing, but give a shout out to him. Ryan Borges, Nathan Sedlak, anybody that was over at the Storm Camp, Vortex Motorsports, Storm Motorsports. I want to give a shout out to Cora for putting a great season on, and for LSRTV for putting a good showing on. That's pretty much all it. So we'll give her all she's got next season.
Okay, that's our 6th place finisher and 2nd place in points, Michael Churchman. One more time, he's going to finish second points for the season. I think Evan Pasoko now is going to be with George Barks, and congratulations on his championship.
Well, they've rolled out the championship stage here on the front straightaway of the Talladega Super Speedway. We will now turn things over to Cora CEO James Brown. James, take it away.
Thank you, Evan. Well, on behalf of Cora Sunday Money Series, I'm very proud to present George Bark with the Sunday Money Trophy. Congratulations, George, on behalf of Cora and the entire staff and all its drivers. Congratulations, George. It's been well deserved, well earned.
Thank you, James. Thanks, Carl. Evan. It was a fun ride the whole season. I had a really good time. I made a lot more friends and stuff. I enjoyed my my time here at Cora. But just want to thank everybody that raced with us. It was a great season. I had a lot of fun. And the organization of this league, spot on. I can't complain about a thing. I think James, Kevin, Gordon, Terry, Alan Larson, I think they do a really good job on organizing this series. Just want to say thanks to everybody.
What's up, stranger? We talked to you 1 week ago. That was a P1. Tonight, a little bit different. You come home in a nail-biter. On the white flag, you were just 1 spot ahead of him. Doucette loses an engine. That's a buffer. Gilbert passes him coming to the stripe. That's a buffer. We're referring to Churchman. You win it by 7 points. How did you put that number 44 in position after starting 18th?
Honestly, I had nothing. I felt we were far off in my eyes, driving the thing. We were really far off with the setup. Me, Damon, Nathan. Even though one of our setups ended up winning the race with Danny Bailey, I still felt like we were slow. Got a lot of work to do. But yeah, it was, man. He tried hard there, Mike, and it was back and forth, and I heard the diversity going on the radio, what's going on back there, and he fought back. He did a great job. It was fun racing him for the championship. Same with Nathan. Us 3 there going in very, very close. It was a nail biter, but coming to that line, I was content with where I was. Even riding 4th, all I needed was 1 position from the way it looked. Tie it or just take the win. I was trying to get Nathan to win. We worked together there the last 40, 50, 60 laps, whatever it was. Didn't work out. We were just off on set, but we tried hard, and it just worked out really good. It just got lucky. To be honest with you, Churchman was a lot better than us today with his setup. And on raw speed, he was definitely faster.
Well, it almost ended early for you guys in 2. You and Sedlak had a little bit of a moment. Everybody hung on to that. We've talked to Churchman. We've talked to Sedlak. Both of those guys are team cars. We talked to them how Sedlak works with you, and that gives you enough to beat Churchman in the championship. But in that 35 zone, right, he needed as big of a gap as he could in between himself and Churchman because he, was going for the championship. We saw a lot of guys push. Nick Doucette was one of them, and he blew up doing it at the end. Was so good pushing with Dennis Bailey late in that race. Throughout the entire run, you guys ended up on the same strategy as them. We saw how good that 51 was, helping out the 08. How important was it to be working with a guy as fast as Sedlak to put you in that spot where you could capitalize and take that championship?
It was really important. It just ended up falling that way with Damon getting a random blow up there halfway through the race and losing track position. Nathan worried about leading laps here just to get that point. Like, it just all worked out. Yeah, they were teammates and stuff, but when it comes down to it and money on the line, things change. Really, all there is to say about that. We're just trying to do the best we can to move forward. Me and Nathan are really close, so it's just it's a shame. Yeah, they run Storm Motorsports cars, but it's just how it works out in reality. You go with what the better option is. I don't blame Nathan.
And the cards fell in your direction for sure tonight. We asked you last week, you're one win away from joining Gilbert up there for the most with 5. Don't quite get it. You get a top 3 tonight, but that's exactly what you needed to lock onto that. Coming into this 2 points down, you did what you needed to do. You look back on this season that started with a win at Daytona. Things got a little bit quiet for you guys at the middle of the season. You guys started 23 out of 24 races, so a good batting average on that regard. You guys got a little bit slowed down, though, in the middle, maybe some bad luck. You really got going again. How important maybe was that momentum?
Yeah, it was important. Coming into the chase, my plan was, for me at least, go out and win the first one. And then the second one, I'm not sure where we were. Maybe it was Indy. And it's just, I was horrible. I had issues and stuff. And right there and then when that race was complete, it's like me and Damon talked, we got to go out and win every race now. We got to be for real. We got to stop playing with these people. And that's what we tried to do, just go out and just try and be perfect, me and him. And Nathan got a little bit left out of the picture there as far as going out and doing what we needed to do. But tonight it's a shame it falls short for Damon because we worked good together there. For 3/4 of the season we were pretty much together for the most part. And he came up short in 4th or 5th, wherever he ended up. But I don't know. I have fun. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I have fun, and like to thank Damon really for sticking with me and motivating me and just trying to go out and win this chase.
Well, that's exactly what you guys did tonight, and now you're a champion, the Season 5 champion. You're getting to walk away with that $200 Sunday Money Championship check. And now you're a championship is in the books for Season 5 with the Sunday Money Series. Rolling forward now, first question I have to ask you is, are we going to see that 44 try to defend in October of 2015? And then I'll follow that up with let you know you can thank everybody that made this possible all year.
Yeah, I plan on it. Just depending how my life goes with my business and stuff, if it doesn't get too busy. But yeah, I plan on coming back. Hopefully, we can get Cora back, 36 people strong again, and it'll be even more competitive. That's the plan. I hope James and Kevin, the whole staff there, can put something together. I'll give a hand. We can get this back where it was 2-3 years ago, even a year ago. That's the plan. But I'll be back. Try my best to be here as much as I can.
Well, you showed up on the racetrack, and then you showed up figuratively when it mattered. A win on the second last one, a podium on the last one to steal the championship from the 88 team. George, congratulations on your Sunday Money Championship. We wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you try to kick it off the way you did this year with a win at Daytona in October. We'll see you then.
Thanks, guys. See
That is your 2015 Cora Sunday Money Series Season 5 champion, George Bark. Now I'm going to look alongside myself here on the podium here. It was CEO James Brown that handed out the hardware. George Bark goes off to celebrate with his team. Carl Jones, you've got a microphone down with James.
Yeah, James, I want to congratulate you on a Season 5 finale. That was an excellent race tonight. Wonderful season. Had a great time out here. I know I was talking to you earlier on, and you said you had a lot of thank yous you wanted to give out. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the mic here for a couple of minutes and let you go ahead and throw out some thanks and give us a little bit of information on what you are looking for next year coming up here in October.
10-4. Well, thank you, Carl, and thank you very much to LSRTV, to Laura and Evan and Carl, and you guys work very, very hard. Thank you. I think you guys make us look good. We've got JMP Custom Cycles down in Florida with John Pansula, the owner. Special thanks to him. Special thanks to George Bark, Bark's Competition Karting. He helps us out. Gordon Berkey Painting and Sandblasting in Minnesota. Special thanks to him, and special thanks to Kevin McCarthy, the chief officiator for Cora, chief operating officer. Terry Hurley, Terry Hurley, and Gordon Berkey, and Alan Larson, who helps out when he can now. Just so many people to thank that helps put this together. Now in the off season, this is when the fun starts for me, is to creating another series, and hopefully we can have it just as competitive as this past season. This has been phenomenal. What an excellent race tonight. Special thanks to each and every one of the drivers. We really got an awesome core of guys here, and I can't thank them enough. This is it's just a lot of fun to do, and again, thank you to the TV and the broadcasters. And I get overwhelmed. I'm just so thankful for all the people that want to help out and have helped me out throughout this, and just a big thank you, and even thank God, because nothing happens without him. It's just nothing happens without him. So, Carl, just God bless you, and God bless all the people that get on to watch the Cora races. And I'm ready to do it again. It's too bad we got to wait till October. However, I and the staff need that little break. Just what an awesome race tonight was, and I'm getting a little speechless and tongue-tied, Carl, so I'll give it back to the people that get paid to do the talking. But thank you again, Carl. You do an awesome job in the booth, and looking forward to next season.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, but we're not quite done with you yet, James. I just wanted to get a couple more things off here. Yeah, these guys are going to get a chance to take a break now until October. We're talking about the drivers here. But you and the staff, I mean, you guys really don't get too much of a break. You're getting ready to plan your summer series with the different couple of races we're going to be having over the summer. I mean, you guys just don't have the luxury of taking that time off that the drivers do. What do we have to look forward to this summer? We have anything right now that's in the works, or are we just going to kind of be playing it by ear?
Well, in the works, we've got we're going to do a little dirt racing, change it up a little bit. And watch the website and the Facebook pages for updates and schedules and so on and so forth. But yeah, we are looking forward to doing some dirt racing. We're in the planning stage of a super speedway series. And again, keep an eye on the website and the Facebook pages for any updates and schedules. But yeah, as much as I say it's the off season, this is the season when the staff goes to work, and this is when, like I said, this is where my fun begins. So yeah, we're in the off season, but we're not resting by any means.
Well, you did a great job this season. Like always, this is now season 5. We're getting ready to go into season 6. This is our CEO, James Brown. Thank you very much for taking the time to stop in and talk to us. We're going to go back up here one more time for the season here with Evan Pasoko, and his final thoughts on the race tonight.
I'm still left speechless. We've had about a half hour to digest the points, to hear from all of these guys. Our winner tonight, Dan Bailey, the top 3 in the championship, and I still quite can't fathom every single thing that went down, from the pit stops, Carl. The 2 groups, one of them having one championship contender, the other having the other. The fact that they were. We said last week when we left George Bark with this, I said that could very well be one spot. It was, with about a mile left to go in that exchange. 2 spots then change in the final 30 seconds of that, with Doucette blowing an engine in a perfect ratio where he still finishes behind Bark, but in front of Churchman. Churchman gets past. George Bark steals this championship. He won the first one at a plate track, and he won the last one at a plate track as far as taking on the championship. George Bark really resurged late on in this season, Carl, to capitalize on that. We've heard from everybody, and all that's left to do is stop talking until October, which is unfortunate as it is, but it has been a blast for these last 24 races. I want to thank you for bringing me up here to be a part of this Sunday Money Season 5 season. Before we step away, any final thoughts on your end of things on what was a wicked night, but as well the 23 races before tonight that led up to this point?
It's just been a tremendous season, and these guys just put on one whale of a show all year long. It's been a lot of fun up here broadcasting with you, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't get over tonight's finish. You're absolutely right. I mean, that was just. I'm going to say it one more time. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but you can't write them better than that. But one other person we need to congratulate here. He did get the Rookie of the Year honors is going to be Damon Gilbert. That's going to be his honor for this season. He gets to walk away with the Rookie of the Year. But that's about all I got for you here tonight. And Evan, it's been great. I've enjoyed it. Looking forward to October. We can kick off the next season, and we'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah, Damon Gilbert, we were talking with Sedlak, and Sedlak was a Rookie of the Year. He went on to be a champion, so don't forget that name, Damon Gilbert, rolling forward. We heard from the CEO of Cora. There's a lot of other sponsors. First off, JMP Custom Cycles for sponsoring all of these races in the chase and making these broadcasts possible. A huge thanks to John Pansula and his group for that as well. Other sponsors we've seen throughout the season: Hurley Property Management, Small Town Computers, of course, the iRacing.com sim, TeamSpeak, Bark Competition Karting as well. There is so much behind the scenes, and you said it when you were talking to James. We tell the drivers, we'll see you in October. The admin's job, it doesn't stop. They're going to be working nonstop until that point to improve on it. There's a Cora Summer Series, and if you want to race in that, you want to race in Sunday Money, it's open every single week to qualify in for all of your Cora information. Please go to Cora-Racing.com to stay up to date with us at LSRTV, as we'll be off air for Sundays for the foreseeable future till October, unless something else comes around here as Sunday Money coming to a close. Please check us out online at livesimracing.com or through our Facebook page at facebook.com/livesimracingtv. For post-race recaps, news, and other press, those can be viewed through our partners at Race Chaser Online, at racechaseronline.com, or through iRacing News Now at iRacing.com/iRacingNews. Next race, well, October 11th from the Talladega Superspeedway. It's a little bit of time to leave the haulers here, but the season wraps up, 24 races down, and that's all she wrote. On behalf of everybody that was a part of these broadcasts this year and throughout this 2014-2015 Season 5 campaign, and especially the broadcast crew tonight, alongside myself, as always, Carl Jones, our executive producer is Laura Lawson, myself is Evan Pasoko. Thank you very much, not only for tuning in tonight, but throughout the entire season. Congrats to Dan Bailey on winning tonight. Congratulations to George Bark on his championship. Churchman for second, Sedlak for third, and as well, Damon Gilbert is your Rookie of the Year. George Bark goes on the defensive. Until then, when we see you in October, we bid you good night from Talladega.